on Superstation TBS.
This year, they threw a $1 million championship bonus into the Winston Cup stock car pot. And the pot boiled over. On track, the drivers are beating each other up. In the garage, they push each other around. Cash leads to confrontation. Hey, if you're man enough to stick a fender in front of me, I'm man enough to try and knock it off. And all this was on the big tracks where the code of the road calls for a little courtesy. There is no such custom on the short track. This is Richmond, Virginia, where the gloves are supposed to come off, where fender bashing is a time-honored tradition, where we're about to see just how far these guys will go to win $1 million.
The Pontiac Excitement 400 is brought to you by Pontiac, America's road car company. We build excitement. And by Coors, the first draft beer in bottles and cans. Coors, the original. And by Purolator, the first name in filters. For pure oil now and pure oil later, it's Purolator. And by Kawasaki, the Good Times Company. And by Warren Industry. When the going gets tough, Warren keeps you going.
Hello, everyone, and happy Easter from the STP Pit Communications Center at Richmond International Raceway. Easter, supposed to be the last break for the Winston Cup drivers before that weekly chase for the $1 million championship. But a month ago, this place was covered in snow, and as a result, this race had to be pushed back to the holiday. Thus, the drivers went to church on pit road this morning. The fans worshiped before a temporary altar outside of the Fairgrounds Exhibition Hall. Those fans are now gathered in 70-degree temperatures and sunshine all around a new 7/10 mile track. It's shaped like a D, but it's very much a question mark. Only one race old. Crews don't have it figured out. Drivers don't have it figured out. They may revert to short track rule number 1. If you can't drive around the guy in front of you, bump him out of the way. On pit road, the crews are concerned about safety. They remember that big and terrifying fire last week at Atlanta. For the drivers, the fear is the end of the pit wall itself. It butts out toward the end of the racetrack at turn 4, and they think it is a disaster just waiting to happen. In terms of the drivers, well, let's talk about Darrell Waltrip. He says he'll get the golden egg at the end of this 400-lap Easter egg hunt. Darrell makes predictions like that all the time. This year, he's making them come true. 2 wins and 4 starts. Up here, I think the real story. Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace. Jeff ran over Wallace here last September and arguably cost Rusty the Winston Cup championship. They're side by side at the head of the grid. Let's start our coverage right there with the editor-publisher of National Speed Sport News, Chris Economaki.
Stock car racing from its very beginnings has been a southern sport. Its contestants and its stars have come from the southeastern quadrant of the United States. Not so anymore. More than half the drivers in today's field are from outside that sector, and the man on the pole is from Chemung, New York, Jeff Bodine. Jeff, how do you feel about excelling in so southern a sport?
Well, we're proud of that. It was hard to get here being from the north. The exposure up in the northern modifieds wasn't really doing me any good to get a ride in the Winston Cup, but we moved south and got the exposure in the Busch Grand National. We're proud of that fact, and happy Easter, everybody out there.
Okay, thank you very much. He won the pole by 48 1/1000ths of a second over Rusty Wallace to show how close the competition is. And for more on that, let's go down to the other end of the lineup and my colleague Mike Joy.
Thank you, Chris. The track record holder, pole sitter, and almost runaway race winner in September, Davey Allison, is starting in the last row on a provisional spot. You've gone from the penthouse to the poorhouse here at Richmond. Tell us about your weekend.
Well, Mike, we started off kind of bad off the truck, and with practice and qualifying being all crammed in one day, we just didn't have enough time to sort things out. And, you know, we're working hard on our Texaco Haviland Star Racing team to sort things out. It's a long race, 400 laps. We're going to make some adjustments during the race, and hopefully we'll get this thing sorted out. But today's Easter Sunday. We'd like to wish everybody out there a happy Easter.
Okay, that's the story from pit lane. Let's go high atop the Richmond Raceway to Ken Squire.
Well, thank you, Mike. 7/10 of a second separates the field here at Richmond. The big names in stock car racing, but the biggest name of them all is not in this field. Richard Petty, who has started 513 straight races, won here at Richmond 13 times, is not on the field. His time so slow that he did not make it among the provisional starters. And so it was a pensive Richard Petty late yesterday afternoon who elected not to buy a ride, but instead to go home to Level Cross, North Carolina. It was just 1 year ago here at this track that our analyst Johnny Hayes was saying that in this form of racing, with the kind of sponsorship dollars now involved, it wouldn't be long before even the big names would be challenged not only for the win, but just to make the field. And here, 1 year later, it's happened.
Well, Ken, first of all, it's a sad day in motorsports for both the fans and the competitors that Richard Petty will not be in this event. It's sort of like Arnold Palmer not making the Masters. But I think it's something they're all going to have to learn to live with, because it's competitive out there, and there's about 40 good race cars, and there are only 36 spots today.
Well, it is the end of an era. It was Lee Petty who won the first Winston Cup race here at Richmond, Virginia. Kyle Petty also did not make this starting field. Chris Economaki talked with Richard Petty. We'll be getting to that interview later, and we'll be back with the starting lineup for the Pontiac 400 in a moment.
You hear the thunder, thunder, the call of the road. You feel excitement. Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride. Drive, Pontiac drive. Ride, Pontiac ride. Get on your Pontiac. We build excitement. Pontiac ride.
36 cars about to pull out in search of a $429,000 Easter egg here on the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway. And the starting lineup for today will look like this. On the front row, he's had 2 second places here, Jeff Bodine. One of the Hendrick cars alongside him is Rusty Wallace of St. Louis, Missouri. In row number 2 today, Mark Martin is there from Batesville, Arkansas. And Alan Kowicki, who was a former pole sitter for this event. Going to row number 3 for today's competition. And there you find from Bartow, Florida, Rick Wilson, and alongside the 85 and the 1987 champion, Dale Earnhardt. In row 4 for this afternoon's competition, Ken Schrader is there, the guy who nearly tore everything up at Daytona this year, and Sterling Marlin out of Columbia, Tennessee. In row 5, it's Bill Elliott, 1987 winner of this race, and Butch Miller of Coopersville, Michigan, ASA champion, has done very well, qualified 10th. In row 6, it's Darrell Waltrip, twice a winner this year. In 80 and 81, he recorded victories at Richmond. Alongside is Larry Pearson, son of the great David Pearson, out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. And the remainder of the field for this $400,000 shakeout. It's Brett Bodine and Dick Trickle starting in row 7. For row 8 today is Ernie Urban and Rick Mass, who did such a dandy job down at Daytona earlier. Then in row 9 from Spokane, Washington, Chad Little. And alongside is Ricky Rudd, the 84 winner of this race. In row 10 will be Terry Labonte and Phil Parsons, who carries one of our onboard cameras. Row 11 is Rodney Combs, and with him comes Michael Waltrip in that row 11. Row number 12 from Mississippi, Lake Speed, and from San Antonio, Texas, Eddie Bierschwale. Going to row 13 today, there you find number 40. There's Ben Hess's car, and Harry Gant, the bandit out of Taylorsville, North Carolina. In row 14 from Mattatuck, New York, Greg Sachs is there, and the Buddy Baker, number 88. And the 1988 winner, defender of this crown, Neil Bonnet, now driving for the Wood Brothers. Going to row 15 this afternoon, there you find Bobby Hillen from Midland, Texas, and Morgan Shepherd out of Conover, North Carolina, number 75. In row 16 from Spanaway, Washington, car number 68, Derek Cope. And beside him comes Dale Jarrett, who was in a whale of a battle just last night in Hickory, North Carolina. In row 17 from Wisconsin comes Jim Sauter. And alongside is rookie from Glencoe, Alabama, number 48, Mickey Gibbs. Row 18, completing the field, Davey Allison. Won here on this new track last September, and beside him a twice winner here, Dave Marcus of Wausau, Wisconsin, and the field begins to roll. They're headed down pit road now, front of the field moving out, And car number 55 has the hood up. That car was involved in an incident late yesterday in practice. They've gone to a second car, and they're still having trouble. He'll be on the rear of the field, and I believe also moving to the back. We've understood the Wood brothers might bring the 21 car back on the tail because of a tire change. Still working on Phil Parsons' car. Now our second onboard camera is in the Folgers car, and that is starting today with Ken Schrader. There you see the Exxon Superflow camera. And Schrader has qualified up in the 7th position as we get set for a go. The course over which they're running is 3/4 of a mile around this brand new facility. There is that Folgers car, number 25. 3/4 of a mile, and you really have to hit it right or you can be in big trouble. You have to get into turn number 1 absolutely letter perfect, or you lose time all the way around. And then up in turn number 4, it's a single lane there. And with as much action, 36 cars on this 3/4 mile bullpen, it can get real interesting.
Well, the thing I'm looking forward to, Ken, is the start. As we said earlier, we have Rusty and Jeff side by side. Alan Kowicki right behind there. And then we have Dale Earnhardt. And I know these fellas are going to try to get in that lower groove early, because if you get caught up high, a lot of cars have spun here in practice.
9 Pontiacs, 8 Fords, 7 Chevrolets, 7 Oldsmobiles, and 5 Buicks settling down to go. On the pole at 120 miles per hour, Jeff Bodine. They're still having trouble on Parsons, car number 55. See the Crown automobile down there. They pulled it back, and they continue to work on Phil's machine. A tough break for Phil Parsons, who hasn't had much luck at all this season. And for Richard Petty, perhaps one of the hardest days of his racing career. Watching today in level cross with grandchildren. More on that story later today as we watch in the back straightaway, preparing for a start. Bodine bringing the field down. He and Rusty Wallace in that altercation a year ago that some say cost Wallace the championship. To Chris Economac.
Well, we're here by Phil Parsons' car. Phil, they're working on his hood, under the hood. Phil, what's the trouble?
What's wrong with it? The secondaries are hanging in a carburetor, Chris. It's the same carburetor we ran yesterday, and it didn't happen. Something just jumped up and bit us, so we're bringing another backup carburetor and try to get it on as quick as we can.
How long will that take?
Shouldn't take too long, but we may miss the start of the race.
Okay, there it is from Phil Parsons, an anxious man, back to the booth.
And there is one more lap before they're going to turn them loose. Pace car bringing the field down by. And in one more lap, they'll send them on their way. We have an onboard camera in the pace car. Some of the action as they pick these cars up around the track. Pontiac Excitement 400, brand new facility. First tried out in September a year ago, and we had a great race here. It is a combination of a short track and a long track. It has as much circle to it as anything they run on, as much as Atlanta. You know, there's so much about always being the corner in Atlanta. It's more so here.
It's a perfect racetrack to watch a race. It's small enough that you can see the cars clearly, but it's also large enough you get real fast racing, real competitive racing.
21 cars on Goodyear today and 15 shod with Hoosier rubber as we prepare for the start. Pace car getting ready to drop off this time by, and they'll turn them loose for 300 miles. 400 laps, 3/4 mile track, $429,000 at stake.
I think on the start, now watch these cars. Everybody's going to try to stay low, and the people up top are going to have to get down.
From the Pontiac pace car, looking back at Wallace on the outside, and they're going to take one more lap. They are taking another lap. A bit unusual here at the start. Bringing the field by. They had the light off. See if it goes off again this time. Came back on again for a moment.
I think, Johnny Hayes, you may have touched on the story that is really going to be the issue, not just at the start of this race, but all day long, and that is the racing line. Yeah, they're going to try to dive down low early because that's the fast way around the racetrack. But every year we've come to Richmond, we've talked about how the groove will creep up on this racetrack and how the track will change during the course of the day. It's a new track, and it's very green here because they haven't run very much on it. Doesn't that actually, Johnny, accentuate that tendency? Doesn't it make it even more of a guessing game today than we've seen in the past?
Sure, I think everybody here was confused a little bit from on tires where the lines are to run the car. So I think it's going to be, you're going to have to adjust your car. The 25 car just stopped on the back stretch with Kenny Schrader. It just rolled to a stop. He's coming back up. I guess the reason they probably are readjusting people. Phil Parsons is going out on the racetrack.
Phil Parsons now pulling back out. Here he is in car number 55.
And Schrader did just pull back into position, so something happened with his car. I'll say Bill Parsons dodged a bullet there, because if they had dropped that thing, he would have been down a couple laps before trying to get to go. I doubt it. They're taking several laps, and maybe if you warm the motors up good, everybody give a chance. It's one to go. I see the signal this time from Harold Kinder in the flag stand.
And Parsons makes it not go a lap down. Not a lap down as we get set to turn loose. Beautiful day here. Temperature in the mid-70s. You couldn't have a better race day. And there is a mammoth congregation gathered in Richmond, Virginia for what has been the second race of the year. And now it's back into the fourth of the season. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, the steering wheels on these cars detach. They're splined onto the steering shaft, and they pull off. They're retained with a collar and a pin. The reason Ken Schrader stopped was the way that wheel was indexed, the way the steering wheel spokes were facing, were not to his liking. So he stopped, pulled the wheel off, moved it over a tooth or two, put it back on and tightened it up. NASCAR thought he might have had a serious problem, so they said, well, let's go one more lap. But Schrader's back up and in line. Everything's okay with his car.
Remember the year that A.J. forgot to put the pin in down at Daytona, about 190 miles an hour, had the wheel come off in his hand? He's strong if he just puts that steering wheel where they call him. Here comes the pace car in. Field settles down for a start. The Pontiac Excitement 400 about to get just as exciting as anything in motorsports. This one never fails to deliver a great event. Start. Bodine for the point and dropping inside Wallace into second. Martin stays third. Alan Kowicki into fourth. Back in fifth. There's Earnhardt.
84 car got up high and slid. You can see how important everyone just jumped as low as fast as they could. You cannot get hung out on this racetrack.
One lap down as Bodine leads lap number one. Dick Trickle driving the 84 car today. Twice ASA champion, had such a great run in Atlanta, Georgia just a week ago.
We have a lost motor going into turn one at the back of the field.
Sauter has blown an engine and spins down into turn number one. The Wisconsin driver in the Slender U car, Jim Sauter. Big belch of flame from beneath the car, and we are under caution. Got a couple of laps in, under green, and running back on the tail end of the pack. Sauter has it explode. He goes all the way around 360. Let's look at it again.
Bill Parsons is right behind him. You can see his car shake, and then Davey Allison dropped back to go around also.
Sure looks like the end of the day for Sauter, who finished 10th at Rockingham with a very good effort. Did not make the Daytona 500 field and crashed at Atlanta, having big problems here this afternoon. We'll be back with more from Richmond Live in a moment.
We're live in Richmond with nearly $500,000 on the line, and the race only a couple laps old when the first yellow of the day has flown. $1 million up for the championship and all sorts of money for other awards during the course of the season, including our True Value Hard Charger Award. It's my favorite because I like to see guys get on the gas, crank that wheel, and who better than Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine to do that. Those three are separated by just 300 points in the race for the True Value money. $50,000 at the end of the year, $5,000 per race. A little later we'll tell you how they score that, but those are the chargers we'll be keeping an eye on here today. One guy who will not charge very far today is Jim Sauter. Let's take another look at the incident here in just a couple of laps that has brought this field down. Sauter with the engine unhinging going into turn one, and a fortunate break. Phil Parsons behind him dodges his second bullet of the afternoon, and the defending champion. There goes Parsons by in your frame. And the second driver involved there was Davey Allison, who also slipped by. Sauter is now in the garage area, and it was a short day for him. One of the ways that we keep track of the action is with our Timex Speed Track computers here at the racetrack. This is kind of a neat little gadget. You program in the race distance, the race length, 75/100ths of a mile in this case, and every time you punch up a lap, it'll automatically calculate the speed. So we're going to keep track of who turns the fastest laps of the day, and we're going to post them on the board over here where we have our True Value Hard Charger, our Timex Speed Track Fast Lap of the Day award, and the name of the driver who goes up here with the fastest lap of the afternoon. He doesn't get anything.
but all of his crew members will get their own Timex speed trap. We're trying to make things a little more lucrative for these guys out here, Kenley. We're just about ready to go back to action. Let's go back to outside.
With 6 laps complete this time by and 295 miles left to battle this afternoon. Bodine on the point. He's had 2 second-place finishes in this race. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Well, as Jim Sauter was just saying here in the garage, a beautiful day for a Sunday drive, but yours lasted, what, mile and a half?
Well, Mike, you know, what can you say? I'm glad it happened right now than 370 laps from now. We got a beautiful day here, and the stands look to be pretty well full, and I just want to say hi to everybody back home, and we'll be back next week.
Well, the oil pan on this slender Pontiac is a lot more slender than it was. It's got a huge hole where a couple of rods exited right out the bottom of the engine. They're done for the day.
Jim Sauter out of it today. Moves on next Sunday.
Yeah, Darlington's going to be a fun place. All these cars will, you talk about a tough racetrack where they have a lot of one-lane racing and people getting after it. And as we talked earlier, the cars are getting so good and so competitive, and you get a breakaway. You've got 2 great cars sitting up front, and you can get lapped real easy.
Here's Phil Parsons, and from his onboard camera in the Crown car, you're getting an idea what he's going through. Hood is up. Button him back up again, ready to put him back into this race. And they're going to bring a blower out onto the track, as we understand, to blow off some of the speedy drive before they turn him loose. In fact, it is there down in turn number 1. They laid so much speedy drive down.
Well, I think the reason, if you don't blow that off, you said earlier, that's the most important turn. And then if you put all this stuff on it, you're sliding and have that much more of a chance of having a wreck.
And the reason that it's so important is these are 14-degree banks on each end of the course, and Chris Economaki was mentioning earlier that the drivers treat turn 1 as if it was almost a flat corner, and they think that the 3rd and 4th corners are actually banked more than 14 degrees. That's the sense you get out of this D-shaped track. We are in the D portion here directly in the start-finish line. It's straight down the back straightaway. And here's Ken Schrader with our Exxon Superflow camera.
Interesting that we put our cameras in all the cars with the bugs today. I'm not sure what that's about. Kenny's really wasn't a bug. It was just an adjustment of the steering wheel that he was able to make. But the other camera car, Phil Parsons, what a story he's been. I got to think that the gods of racing are smiling on him today. I mean, the carburetor goes bad with 2 pace laps to go before the start of the race. The way things have fallen, they not only got to fix the carburetor, replace it, in fact, but now they're getting to adjust it. He came in a lap ago, and they were able to make an adjustment that they figured they would need at some point during the day. Also, under yellow, when all this is done, he's going to be right back where he was at the start of the race with a healthy car and ready to go. Could have been a disaster. Instead, it's a delight for Phil Parsons.
And up 1 spot as Sauter is retiring from the race. He's picked up 1 position here. They've battled for every point they can get. Coming down by Schrader, carrying the second onboard camera, is now in 7th position. Bodine on the point, Wallace in 2nd, Martin 3rd, Kulwicki 4th. Coming by Kulwicki 4th, Dale Earnhardt 5th, and Rick Wilson 6th. Schrader 7th, Sterling Marlin 8th, Bill Elliott 9th. Waltrip is back in 10th on the break, with Brett Bodine 11th, Larry Pearson is 12th. And Ernie Irvan, who hasn't had much luck here, he's 13th. I mean, he's had some luck because he's in the race, but he tore up 1 car completely, and they just loaded that one back on the hauler to take home. Easter Sunday, and it's celebrated here at the Richmond International Raceway this morning at 8 o'clock. The services over here in the fairgrounds area. Pace car bringing them by. And then Blake Speed and his family, the 11:30 service for drivers this morning.
And there are things that are very similar about Christianity that are similar with a lot of the other religions of the world. There's a great prophet involved in Christianity named Jesus Christ, who for
the Reverend Bill Baird, who each Sunday morning preaches for the stock car crowd down in the garage area, oftentimes with the sounds of engines in the background, having his Easter service here. Very important to these drivers. They were the ones that demanded it years ago, and they've continued this tradition through the years. And today, as is important to so many folks, important to these drivers.
Ken, I think you make a good point, and that is that the fans and the drivers did take the time today to honor Easter. NASCAR has never run a race on Easter Sunday. they are reluctant to do that for the obvious reason. Likewise, they do not race on Mother's Day. They feel that there are plenty of racing Sundays in the year and that a couple of days need to be reserved to be at home with the family. But from the looks of this crowd, I would think they might need to reconsider the policy because this place is jammed. They've doubled the capacity of the Fairgrounds Raceway here. 60,000 folks are here to watch. They went to church in the morning. They came to race in the afternoon. Maybe we've got another race day open to us on the schedule.
And the crowd is coming in late, David. Playing to what you just said. They have taken a few moments to spend with a church of their choice, their denomination, and now they're still flocking in here this afternoon as we speak to you live from Richmond, Virginia for the running of the Pontiac Excitement 400. We've had the caution out now for 8 laps, but they're just about set. Turn them loose with Bodine on the point, coming down. Green flag is extended, and we're racing again at Richmond. And the quick move, as you see the start, is Earnhardt, who goes right up the outside and tries Kowicki, and Kowicki cuts him off in turn 1. Away and racing back straight away. Bodine in front, Wallace in second, and Mark Martin in third. Kowicki holding fourth. Setting the pace down. Getting those tires heated up before anybody tries to do anything too fancy out here. Dale Jarrett made a pit stop just before they came back under green, so he is on the tail end of the field now. He is running in the 34th position. 35th out back to Phil Parker. Up in front, Bodine by 2-car length. Dick Trickle, who started 14th, something to miss there on one of the Savola cars. He's dropped back to 27th in the early going. Trickle, who actually led at Atlanta last week, going for a rookie, 47 years old, and he's won everything there is to win. 1,200 races on short tracks in a great career, mostly in the Midwest. Getting an opportunity here with Mike Alexander still hurting.
You can see Rusty Wallace is tightening up on the jet and let him know. Here's where he'd like to try to make Jeff make a mistake. Drive it in too deep, slide up a little bit, and get in the loose stuff. You can see Jeff's car twitch that time. So Rusty's got to work him hard.
Further back, Rick Nass has just gone under 20 years and picked up the spot for 13. Here's the battle. It's on the point. And nobody doing anything dramatic here in the early going, just holding on. Looks for Wallace to try to go up in there and score the 5 bonus points for leading a race. As Dave McFain was pointing out at the top of the program, it's $1 million for the Winston Cup champion, guaranteed this year. And those points, running out in front, leading the most laps, becomes more critical. Wallace has been critical of his own performance, that he didn't strive to lead more laps last year. Had he been a little more dominant in that category, he would have been the Winston Cup champion.
You can see there's very little passing going on at this time. They hope to put more rubber down on the racetrack, build a groove up a little bit, but no one's taking any chances. No one's passing on the outside. Uh-oh, we had somebody into the wall on the back stretch.
Looks like Lake Speed. Or is it the Purelator car? It is the Purelator car that has just tagged the wall up there. Derek Coach is out. Stanaway, Washington driver, now pulls right onto pit road. You can see the number 68, Derek Cope, and he's bent up the front end. So Derek Cope's car, number 68, comes down in the early going. Caution is out for the second time. Caution is on for the second time at Richmond, Virginia, as Derek Cope nails the wall to the back straightaway.
Here we have the replay, and he's just driving along, and I don't know if he hit something or got loose. It didn't look like he had contact with another car.
17 laps complete when the incident takes place in the back straightaway. 17 laps down, 12 miles, almost 13 complete.
Yeah, he definitely was by himself, and the car just got loose, it looked like. Maybe he had a tire going down and just slammed the wall, and but he did come all around there putting a tire on it.
Derek Cope, who crashed in Daytona and wrecked in Atlanta, continues to have ill fortune here at Richmond this afternoon. Looks like he's out of the race. With 19 laps complete, the green flag came back out. We're now working lap 23. It's Jeff Bodine out in front, making his 7th run here. in this race at Richmond, Virginia for nearly $500,000. In second spot is Rusty Wallace, who now looks like he's ready to turn up the competition level and take a shot at first place. Right down up against that wall in turn 4.
And look who's right behind Rusty Wallace. Darth Vader, Mr. Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, is coming after him. Is it 2-on-1? We will follow the action.
The man in black begins to roll here. For Willow Monsoon doing the race with us today here. John Hayes with another roll out of turn 4. Bodine in front. Wallace is hanging on to him. Remember, they had this big conflict right here in turn 1 last time they met on this track.
Well, we joke about it, Johnny and Ken, but in reality, of course, driver personalities have a lot to do with this business. And Jeff Bodine's controversial personality, for whatever reason, seems to rub people the wrong way. He and Earnhardt are certainly not best of buddies. And Wallace, as he comes down onto the inside and tries the leader there, is, in fact, Dale Earnhardt's best buddy. So you got a couple of pretty good pals ready to go to work on a guy that neither one of them care too much about here.
Earnhardt, who looked fearless. Think there's anybody that he would have ever been afraid of in this industry?
Oh, absolutely. He's seriously afraid of Teresa, but Tiny Lund, he would shake if Big Tiny was here. And he walks gingerly by Junior Johnson, as a matter of fact.
And how do you know that about Tiny Lund?
Because you can look at Tiny, and his fingers were big as bowling pins. No, he would smile and say, yes, sir, to Tiny.
Back straight away. Here's Dale Earnhardt down about 8 car lengths to those 2 leaders trying to close in. On Bodine in first and Wallace in second. 27 laps complete this time by. Meanwhile, further back, Kowicki looks like he wants to take a run at Schrader. In the back of the field, Greg Sachs may be pitting, slowing down, and coming on pit road is Greg Sachs in the 88. They're the front 3. Ken Schrader has found his way into the 5th position. Kowicki is in 6th. Running 7th, Mark Martin. Waltrip is up to 8th. And Sterling Marlin, who had a shaky start when the green came out, he got himself sideways up in 4th. Gathered back up once again and is running in 9th. Now you see number 11. That's Terry Labonte, who was running in 11th.
Earlier, they were really racing each other hard. They were side by side, and Labonte did get under Rick Mast, but that's been some good, strong racing back there.
Let's keep our eye on car number 11, the Junior Johnson car. He has come from 19th up to 11th here in the early going. There's Rick Mast in the 66 right behind him. Travis Carter, Mark 1 team. Under the Hal Needham team. And he is really closing ground. He is moving up and trying to the 15, Brett Bodine. And here comes Kowicki inside of Schrader once again in that contest taking place for the 5th position. Alan Kowicki out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's Schrader staying on the outside, tending to his knitting. About 120 miles an hour in that section of the course. Number 75, Morgan Shepherd, pulls on pit road.
Looked like Morgan had a tire going down, and they came after him fast, but everyone having to be concerned about getting lapped. Those cars at the back have got to get going because the front cars are coming hard.
The number 7 car on the inside, Alan Kowicki, winner at Phoenix, Arizona last year. And on the outside, from Fenton, Missouri, Schrader, wheel to wheel, Ford against Chevrolet. In the early going, a nice struggle between a couple of real top competitors, relative new names on the Winston Cup circuit. And it is Kowicki up a spot.
Look at Schrader went right back after him, so I'll tell you that.
Schrader's a sprint car guy. He's not going to let one car going by intimidate him at all. He'll be back.
I love Schrader. He hit the wall at Bristol last year. You could see the whole bottom of his car and did not lose the position and finish the race. I mean, the boy does not lift. If it goes sideways, he just keeps going sideways. But he's awesome.
Phil Parsons getting it back together again and challenging Mickey Gibbs now way back in the field. He's beginning to roll after all those problems, and here you are riding with Phil down to this main straightaway. Just lifts off, and this is where he has to be so tender on the throttle. Gets it gathered up and heads into that back. Now watch him come right out to the wall. Just eases right up to it like the 4th turn at Daytona. You want to be right on it. And back here, it is a single lane around 3 and 4. And there's that wall right down on the inside. And if you're going to run fast, you've got to run about 3 inches off it. And if somebody tags you, you know you're going to stop real quick. Here's Waltrip on the outside in car number 17. And Sterling Marlin down in the bottom of the racetrack. We're watching here the battle for 8th position. 94 is Sterling Marlin, who is in 8th, and Waltrip is in 9th, going to the high side. Sterling Marlin with the Billy Hagan team. They're going to have some success this year as well. Just keep on coming on.
They've run well all year, and Cuckoo's baby boy, Sterling, is he's hard-nosed and goes hard. You see Darrell, who is so intelligent and scary in a race car. We'll sit there and call his name 5 or 6 times. He's running 7th, 10th. We say, oh, by the way, Darrell Waltrip won this race. Where was he all day? That's his style. But Darrell tried to pass him on the outside, knew there was no way.
Back to the leaders. Front 3 just staying right there with 37 laps. Stabilized in the front 3 spots. Again, in 4th is Rick Wilson. 5th is Kowicki, 6th Slater, 7th Martin, 8th Sterling Marlin, 9th Darrell Waltrip, and 10th Brett Bodine. The body is in 11th where he's been for the last 12 laps. Then Larry Pearson runs 12th. Ricky Rudd is in 13th. Chris?
Yes. I'm down here with Barry Thompson. Barry, what's Rusty doing right now? Trying to figure out Bodine or worried about Earnhardt?
He's probably worried about both of them. The car's a little loose getting in the corner. We got to make an adjustment. We're just biding our time right now trying to pick a safe place on the track.
Okay, thanks very much. Good luck.
Earnhardt and Wallace. It's Wallace in the white and green car on the inside, and the man in black. Dale Earnhardt thunders through on the outside of the Richard Childress car. Earnhardt, who lives off intimidation, and it's interesting, that's what he's been teaching Wallace to do. Wallace has gotten a lot stronger and a lot more mentally up for these races. He pushes people around now. And years ago, we didn't see him do that as much. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Rusty Wallace's little brother, Kenny, who also is part of that group.
I think the interesting thing that we just saw here is that Earnhardt was able to drive around Wallace on the outside. It's supposed to be a bottom of the racetrack groove. Richard Childress told us during the caution flag that he's real happy with the tires and the setup. Remember, they came from 6th, the only car up front that has really passed anybody of any significance. But perhaps most importantly, if they could pass on the outside of the racetrack, Earnhardt ought to be able to go right up there and drive around Bodine as well.
Well, I don't think it'll be quite that easy to go around Bodine. I think on the backstretch, you saw Rusty lift to let Dale go on by because he was holding him up, and he knew that Dale allowed to turn him sideways because they're good friends, and, you know, you forgive each other easy.
What about the tire situation here, Mr. Pontiac? We've got enough laps down to know what the rubber situation is on these cars.
Well, right now, Neil Bonnet in car number 75 is sitting with a blistered right front Hoosier. Awfully early to start to have tire trouble. It may be a story that he's following all race long. Back to you.
Well, that has been a prediction by some that tire would blister about 20, 25 laps into competition. If the Goodyear was a little cooler, one a little stronger, maybe not as fast at first, but would get a lot more laps in. Dave?
Well, there's a point there, I think, that Bob Newton of the Hoosier, here they come up the inside now as they battle. Here is Neil Bonnet, that tire replaced and back out onto the racetrack. A team that has run the Hoosier tires a good bit during the course of the racing. The battle is for second. It's Wallace and Earnhardt side by side. Bodine moving around a lap car up ahead. To finish the thought on the tire war, Bob Newton of Hoosier Tire Company says that is all fun. All the fear that our tires are going to blister here today is the result of last year's mentality. We did have a blistering problem a year ago when our tires were much faster than the Goodyear. This year we're only a little bit faster, and we unequivocally do not have a blistering problem. Neil Bonnet might quarrel with that. Rusty Wallace is inside Dale Earnhardt again.
Wallace and Earnhardt, closest of friends, deepest of enemies right now as they fight it out for second place. Earnhardt just nipping by, going into turn number 1. 46 laps complete.
I'll tell you something interesting is they fired their best shot at Jeff, and Jeff weathered it and is now pulled away, and that means Jeff Bodine's car is working well. It's balanced well. Here he's trying to pass Greg Sachs. Earnhardt, I think Rusty's just following, not going to force the issue, not use the tires up, because you could use your tires up trying too hard. Jeff had to go on the outside.
264 miles left in this competition. A long way to haul the coal this afternoon as Wallace settles in his third spot, looks at Earnhardt, and the interesting thing is here that a 12-car advantage has been built up by Bodine. Further back in the field, here's Lake Speed in the 83, Harry Gant in the 33. They fight it out back outside of the top 18.
Boy, that's been a war for about the last 10 laps. Phil Parsons is just joining that thing, but Chad Little was running side by side with Harry Gant earlier, and they've been running in a wad, and they've been exchanging a little paint, and that's one of those places things can go real easy. You see the camera shot from Phil Parsons' car, and he's trying to get around Harry Gant on the outside, but they're all wadded in there, and there's the kind of places you have trouble.
Butch Miller looks like he may be losing an engine as he comes down the main straightaway. A lot of smoke coming out of car number 51. No caution on the track. That's the battle back in 20th spot that you're watching. And here is the Miller, car number 51, in trouble. Easing off the pace. He stood on the pole for some time yesterday. Had a great qualifying run, but it looks like the engine is shattered in car number 51, a Chevrolet, and he's pulling in. That could be all for Butch Miller, defending ASA champion. Coopersville, Michigan. Car is owned by the local undertaker up there. Back with the leader. And there you see that interval between first and second place. Still staying healthy. Bodine. 12, 15 car length advantage over number 3, and sandwiched in between them is the lap car of Dale Jarrett. From no name to Winston Cup household name. That's the dream of every aspiring stock car driver. For the man tied for second in the Winston Cup standings, that dream has come true.
Ten years ago, Jeff Bodine emerged from his father's upstate New York short track. One more local hero, hoping to become a superstar. But Bodine made the grade. By 1986, he had one of the best rides in the business, and he took it to victory lane at Daytona. With success came controversy. Last year, his clashes with Dale Earnhardt were headline news. This year, he got off to another great start. 4th at Daytona and again at Rockingham. If he hadn't crashed last Sunday and finished 19th, he'd be leading the standings. Today, Bodine is one of NASCAR's graybeards, in more ways than one.
You know, I try to prepare myself every week to remember championship. That's why I grew this beard. This is a little reminder when it starts itching and sweating and getting hot out there. I say, yes, championship. I just rub it and say, okay, we'll be ready.
Tied for second place in the standings with Alan Kowicki, Jeff Bodine, who is leading here this afternoon in the Hendrick car. Number 5. Swinging around, Dave Marcus, two-time winner of this race. Jeff Bodine, who cut his teeth up in New England in racing and out of Chemung, New York, the old Chemung Speedway, which his dad operated. Here he is putting a lap now on car number 21. Neil Bonnett's ride, the Wood brothers. Our condolences to the Wood family today. Leonard's mother-in-law has passed away. He has started this race, and we understand he's going to leave in another hour or so.
Yes, he was going to try to leave right after the start of the race, and everybody in racing would just like to send our sympathies to the Wood family.
Mrs. Webb, the mother-in-law of Leonard Wood. Let's go to Chris Economac.
Why now? Jeff is on Hoosier. Neil Bonnet just twisted a right front Hoosier. You having any tire difficulties?
No, he said the car's running well. The tires feel good. We're just a little bit on the loose side, but that's because of the track being as hot as it is. Because yesterday when we practiced, it was a lot cooler.
Okay, there you have it from the leader's crew chief. Back to you, Ken.
Dominating since the outset. Jeff Bodine stays in front. Earnhardt, twice winner here, hangs on to him. Again, Bodine has twice come home in second place in this event, 1985 and 1987. Earnhardt stays second, Wallace third, Kowicki fourth. Rick Wilson is in fifth, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
We're live from Richmond International Raceway. Alan Kowicki just turning an impressive 23.75 lap before the pit stop. The field now under yellow for the moment for debris on the racetrack. That calculates to 113.68 miles per hour. We'll put Kowicki's crew in the running for a new speed track computer. About ready to get back to action. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Bodine will be in first. Dick Trickle in second after the pit stop. Dale Earnhardt in third. Alan Kowicki is in fourth. Darrell Waltrip fifth. Wallace sixth. Wilson seventh. Schrader eighth. Brett Bodine is ninth. And Ricky Rudd stands 10th as we are in this caution period. Here at Richmond this week, Bill Elliott, whose fondness for airplanes rivals his love of stock cars, added a very special trophy to his already impressive collection. Here's Lieutenant Colonel Ron Hall of the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
It's a great pleasure to be here today on behalf of the Air Force Reserve to present this very special award to Bill Elliott, the 1988 recipient of the Air Force Reserve Honorary Recruiter of the Year. This magnificent eagle was first presented in 1984 to Mr. Ted Turner, and other notable names such as Morgan Brittany have received this award. It is in recognition of the time and effort spent by Mr. Elliott in support of the Air Force Reserve, but more importantly, we recognize his professionalism and dedication, and most of all, his bravery in support of the Air Force Reserve. It is these qualities that represent the men and women of the Air Force Reserve and the men and women of the Air Force Reserve strive for in daily life, and which Bill represents so well. And it's why I present this award, which reads, to Bill Elliott, Honorary Recruiter of the Year, Air Force Reserve, 1988.
It's quite an honor, and, you know, it's something that, you know, I'll treasure the rest of my life. I guarantee you, with all the recipients that's done got it. You know, it sure does mean a lot, and I really appreciate it a lot.
The driver of car number 9, Bill Elliott. 212 points out of first place, currently in 22nd position. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, here's what a tire looks like when it blisters. The tire overheats, so the tread separates from a carcass. This is a Goodyear tire off Chad Little's car, but there's no unanimity among pit crews here as to which brand of tire is right for their car. A little ways down the road, Dale Jarrett's team just took off the Hoosier tires on which they started the race, and they put on Goodyear. We need to point out that blistered tires sometimes are a function of the tire, but more often are a function of how that car is set up and balanced to take advantage of the tire combination on the car. It's as much the team's responsibility as it is the tire company. Let's go to Chris.
I'm down here with Terry Labonte's crew chief, Junior Johnson. Was your driver a bad boy, Junior? Get that black flag?
Well, when he went out of the pits, he crossed the yellow line. You're supposed to stay below that yellow line, blend in the traffic on the backstretch. So he just went right up on the track and out in the traffic. That's against the rules.
How much did it cost you?
Well, about halfway through the pack to the back end of the pack. You just got to come back in and be correct and go out like you're supposed to.
Okay, then you hear what happened to Terry Labonte. Back to you, Ken.
You heard the word from Junior. Didn't sound very happy with Terry Labonte.
Well, I was in the drivers' meeting this morning, and Dick Beatty made it perfectly clear that on all pit stops, the drivers must stay below the yellow line through turns 1 and 2 and blend in on the traffic on the backstretch. And he stressed it 4 or 5 times. Ricky Rudd's car has a problem on pit road. It's rolling to a stop. Number 26 car is being pushed along.
That's the car you picked to win this race.
Yeah, last practice he was the fastest car. We're going green right now. He's trying to get her started.
He gets it fired up. The field is coming down. Greg Sachs was also in. 75 laps complete. He's going to get out and not get trapped a lap down, but he's got to hustle. Field comes by. They're back under green as Bodine takes him into turn number 1 with Dick Trickle now in second spot. And Ricky Rudd just barely escapes going a lap down, as did Sachs. He's running about 500-600 feet in front of the leader, Bodine. That's Ricky Rudd. And trying to get another caution, he'll give him a chance to circulate and try to catch back up with his field. Meanwhile, from the back of the field, Terry Labonte has to really make a run now. Trickle in second. Earnhardt is in third. Kowicki in fourth. Waltrip in fifth. Wallace in sixth. Wilson seventh. Bodine is 8th. Ken Schrader comes back up to 9th. Sterling Marlin is in 10th. Mark Martin is 11th. Rich Nash 12th. And Davey Allison's the 13th after that start that hit him all the way in the tail end of the field.
Well, one thing that makes me feel a lot better, the track is turned in now to a 2-lane racetrack. You can see a lot of cars racing side by side and passing on the outside. So this is going to help us have a lot better race and maybe eliminate some of those cautions.
Good struggle further back in the field. Wallace trying to get sorted out. Here's Rick Wilson moving around Chad Little. Wilson up into the 6th position. Wallace goes into 7th. Chad Little being shown a lap down. at Wilson going up around Eddie Bierschwale. And here comes Wallace right with him. A tap on the rear bumper.
Ken, you can see they would not have tried that earlier. Now the cars are sticking there, so the good cars now have room to get by some of the cars that are a little off in pace. And again, that helps this race be a lot safer because cars can dive instead of pushing their way through.
Driver's point of view here. Step down to turn one. There's Rick Mass right behind Rick. And of course, out here would be the number 55 Phil Parsons car, giving us these pictures in the Crown Petroleum car.
You can see Phil Parsons throw his hand up to warn the people in the back that something was going on.
And look at Terry Labonte scooting here. Ernie Verban on the inside. Car number 11 outside of the top 20, trying to bust through traffic and get back into the thing. 10 lights. He went way to the rear. And he moves around Irvan as he continues to stroke his field out. Trying to dive through. He's pulling up on Bill Elliott now in the car number 19. Elliott driving the full distance. He has a new splint for his wrist. He was out here the other day running without any assistance on that left wrist after he broke it down there at Daytona. Terry Labonte trying to close in on Elliott in the 9 and on number 29 as well, Dale Jarrett. Break back in the top 20. Here's Labonte down on the inside. There's Jarrett a tad high, and here's Labonte working his way back through. The penalty for crossing the yellow line down in turn number 1. You're supposed to blend in there. As Tom said, he did not.
I think the key about the Terry Labonte car is a lot of people are not talking about Terry. You haven't heard a lot about Terry this year, except he shifted the Fords, and they say the Ford's the problem. That is not the case. That car's run well everywhere it's raced. They've just been caught in some of these crazy situations. But talked with Tim Brewer, and he feels strongly that the car is going to be very good, and they're going to win races, and it's just dialing it out, getting it balanced.
Up in front, the leader, Bodine, is just flying away from the field at this point. Look at this interval between first and second place. There's Bodine in front. Earnhardt is now secure in second spot. Trickle is third, and Kowicki is fourth. So the black car, number 3, is in second, and we have Chevrolets 1 and 2 on the field.
The way Bodine got the big jump is Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace were behind Dick Trickle, and he was able to get a quicker start off the line, and everything got bumped together, and they went 3 wide, and Jeff fretted at that time.
On board. What they're putting Oxford out here in this race. That's Ken Schrader. Just eases that car down into the corner.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's working hard at all, does he?
And that's the secret to it if you're going to run these endurance contests on a short track like this. Be so smooth and so careful and so deliberate and so aggressive and downright ugly once in a while if you want to win here.
Yeah, I think Rick Hendrick picked him a winner with Kenny Schrader, though. There were a few years ago you wouldn't have said much about Kenny Schrader except he was a good guy. But now, I tell you, everywhere you go, he runs well. And he's not one of those people who says good speedway, good short track, doesn't do well, doesn't do this. Ken Schrader runs well everywhere we go. Now, he's out of control sometimes, but he does well.
Let's look further back. Here's the battle that's taking place for third and fourth place. There you see car number 84, Dick Trickle, the great racer out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And right behind him from Milwaukee comes number 7, Kowicki, trying to get in this thing. Putting car to the inside. That's number 8, Bobby Hillen, going a lap down. The 2 cars from the Stavola Racing Stable running nose to tail at this point. Down to the inside, moves Kowicki. Tries to draw a B. Now, this is the guy he chased for 4 years out in the Midwest in the ASA competition. And they're back at it again. It's going to be like old times for that pair. Kowicki closing in with the Ford. On the Buick, number 84. Wonderful to watch Dick Trickle get an opportunity. Billy and Mickey Stavola, after Mike Alexander was hurt, went to Trickle, gave him this shot, and he elected to sign up to run for Rookie of the Year. He doesn't know how long his chance is going to last, And the ride is Mike
Caution.
Alexander.
We're under caution.
Caution back out. That's the fourth time
Greg,
today, and you're early going.
Greg Sachs is going slow down the backstretch, so I don't know if he hit the wall. I can see smoke coming out of the car.
And he may have dumped some fluid in the back straightaway, and they're not taking. And immediately, Earnhardt pulls on pit road. Number 3 comes in a hurry.
And that was a smart move because the pace car is coming out right this second to pick up Jeff Bodine.
So Dale Earnhardt elects to pit. He'll have to come firing out of the back of the field. Davey Allison also pitting. More of the action from Richmond in a moment. Under caution on the Richmond International Raceway, the old fairground circuit. Jeff Bodine electing not to pit. Dick Trickle the same. Alan Kowicki, Rusty Wallace all staying out there on the track with 94 laps complete. And you see this group up on the roof down here in turn number 1. Bunch of casual viewers. No, sir.
Those fellas are probably the most important people in the racetrack other than the driver. Those guys are the spotters. They are the head coaches in the box.
You're just saying that because that's what you used to do.
Well, I was a great spotter. I will not disagree with that. I was all-pro spotter 7 years in a row. But those guys tell the drivers what to do, warn them, coach them. It's a great shot.
And you see that man on the end in the Goodwrench uniform. That's the guy that just called the shot for Earnhardt to make that pit stop when nobody else came in. He realized what was going on and got him in and got him out to get whatever they needed.
Yes, and the problem was all the other spotters told their cars, okay, stay out. Now we got Earnhardt to the back. So it'll be worth the price of admission to see Earnhardt come through this group going to the front. If it were me, I'd just pull over.
You think they lie to each other up there a lot of
Oh, yeah, they help each other. Yeah.
And there is Dale Earnhardt, who now is out back, and he's got a few fans here today, that's for sure. It's well over 40,000 gathered this lovely Easter Sunday in Virginia on one of the grand old tracks of NASCAR, missing one of its greatest stars, Richard Petty, today, watching this race in the level cross after the number 43 STP Pontiac did not qualify for this event. Really is missed. You think they ought to come up with a new rule where Winston Cup champions, like they do in the PGA, you know, the Masters and the TPC and the USA, you win those things, you get like 10 years that you can get an opportunity to qualify.
Hey, if it were mine, I'd give Richard Petty a lifetime exemption to everything there is. There's no man in the history of the sport that has done more than that man.
One lap and we're going to be racing. One lap and we're going to turn them loose one more time. Getting set on the start.
Now let's watch Bodine on this restart and see if he can pull off to the lead like he had before, because the 8-car Bobby Hillin Jr. got side by side with Dick Trickle, and Bodine was able to drive away before Kowicki and the other car could get to him. So let's see if he gets the big jump.
Holding up for a start, and that battle up in front is going to be something. As Alan Kowicki lies third on the field. You know, Alan has won more money in the first 3 races this year than he did in the entire 1986 season when he was Rookie of the Year. He's already bagged $103,000 this year.
I think Alan and Bill Elliott are the only 2 guys that are in charge of their cars like that.
Pace car is in. The Pontiac pace car pulls off the track. Field is ready on the start. Bodine in front. Trickle is in second. Here they are on the break.
Well, let's check it out. Let's see if Bodine can jump down in front of Bobby Hillin Jr. and let Bobby run side by side with the 84 car. And he did push him up. And if Jeff can get these cars side by side, that helps him drive off. So Jeff is getting through the turns beautifully.
Coming around to complete 98 laps as we go back under green here at the Richmond International Raceway in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Everybody settles in for just a moment to get a little heat on those tires before they get down to serious business. He was going to be the first to take a break, and Bodine pulls away again. He just flat out runs him for a while.
Well, again, he has Bobby Hillin Jr., who is a lap down right between himself, and it's very hard to get around these cars on these tracks unless you have that extra burst of power. You have to work them for 2 or 3 laps, and this gives Jeff a runaway.
During that yellow flag period, some significant work was done in the pits. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace have both switched from Goodyear to Hoosier tires. The leader, Jeff Bodine, started on Hoosiers, and he's still out front. Back to you.
No, the tire changes are taking place, just like Chris said it happened earlier. Look at Bodine, or rather at Earnhardt back here further away as Bodine continues to draw away Chad Little. Being challenged by the man in black, number 3.
And Earnhardt in these kind of situations does not have a lot of patience from Chad Little, who's new to the circuit and wanting to prove himself, would love to keep Earnhardt behind him. They're going around Eddie Beerswell. He's using that car, but this is kind of situation where Earnhardt is just locked into a place and he has to force a hold.
Around some laps automobile trying to sort himself out. Here comes Earnhardt with number 3, ducking inside and out, looking for any kind of running room to get back up with those leaders. Meanwhile, further back in the pack in the lead group, as Bodine pulls away, tremendous battle developing just behind this man, Bodine, for the second position. As 84, Dick Trickle finds some running room. Bodine is in there, and Wallace. There you see them fighting for second spot. Bobby Hillen is creating the shuffle out there. He is a lap down, but he is trying to stay with the field and get his lap back.
Well, I felt like Bodine would get by Hillen, jump right in front of him. Then he can use Hillen as a blocker to just keep people getting around him. You see Rusty. Now, here's another situation. Rusty's aggressive like Dale is. And how long is he going to put up with it, or is he going to try it? He drives by on the outside, but Bobby Hillen comes up underneath him and is going to race him because Bobby Hillen is going to race you hard.
And 27 has the power to deal with Hillen on the outside. Here's Wallace scooting along high side. They're now about 1 9/10 of a second, the second place group behind the leader, Bodine. 103 laps are complete. Hillen tucks it down low.
And Alan Kowicki's been able to get by up top. So by the racetrack, the groove moving up a little bit has helped those people.
I don't think that Hillen was any too eager also to have the car with the same racing colors, the same racing livery, Trickle going by him like that. He was really trying to show that he could handle that car and stay up in there.
Well, I think any race car driver, whether he's down a lap or not, feels like he's going to get it back, and he's going to race him just as hard as he can every lap. If he doesn't, you don't want him driving your race car. So I think Bobby Hillen's doing just what he needs to do.
Wallace second, Kowicki third, Trickle fourth, and Rick Wilson fifth. Darrell Waltrip line 6 on the field. 7th is Sterling Marlin. 8th is Earnhardt. 9th is Parsons. 10th is Bodine. 11th is Lake Speed. And 12th is Kenny Schrader.
You know, we haven't called Rick Wilson much, but he's driven an excellent race today. He stayed up front all day. He's there good and solid. And Darrell is making a gigantic move from 8 to 6, but is still playing hide and seek.
Here's Rusty Wallace, running now about a second back from the leader, Jeff Bodine. Rusty Wallace, at the end of the 1988 season, was any indication, the Winston Cup Series soon will have its first champion from the American heartland.
A graduate of the Midwestern short tracks, Rusty Wallace came south with great confidence in his own ability and not a whole lot more. He didn't get a full season ride until 1984, but he rode that ride to Rookie of the Year honors. He signed on with Blue Max Racing, determined to become a contender. And while the team gained strength, Wallace learned lessons in aggressive driving from Dale Earnhardt, the acknowledged master and Rusty's new best friend. Late in '88, his hard driving style paid off. He repeatedly came from a lap down to win. He took 5 of the last 6 checkered flags. Never mind that he came up short of champion Bill Elliott by the narrowest of margins. This year, Wallace figures that title all his.
I really do. I feel real good about it. You know, I lost it last year by just 24 points, and I don't want that to happen again, and I'm working real hard to try to get them back.
One of the great contenders, car number 27. And a big contingent of Wallace fans continues to grow. They like his style, like his personality.
Well, Rusty's running Jeff Bodine down now. You can see the gap is closed, and I think his car's working that well. And another guy that's coming is Earnhardt. He's come all the way from the back, and he's running in about 7th place now. He's right behind Rick Wilson.
Up to 6th place now,
6th place, so he's trying to get back up there. It shows you how good his car is. It's working so well at the bottom, and he can also pass you at the top. Here's Jeff Bodine again. Jeff's just driven a flawless race. The car's working well. He's not going to abuse the tires. He's running up front. He has no one in front of him. Don't race real hard until you have to. You don't want to abuse those tires.
Tires may be the key story in this battle that we're watching right here, because Bodine has stayed on the Hoosiers throughout and has been going through them like Buster's gang, while the guy behind him, Rusty Wallace, came off the Goodyears, which were wearing longer, to the Hoosiers, which seem to be faster but wear out in a hurry. I don't know when Rusty made that switch if he was aware that Bodine's crew has already been off searching for more tires. They went through 2 sets in the first 50 laps, and they figured they might run out before it's all over. So the Hoosiers appear to be faster, but they have a wear problem. I think it's significant that real Goodyear loyalists like Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt would switch to Hoosier. They must think they're a bunch better.
There you see that group up in front, first and second place, and further back, Earnhardt is about to wage a tremendous battle. Here's your 2 leaders. As Bodine and Wallace stay first, now look at this collection. The number 4 is Rick Wilson, and directly behind him is the number 3 of Earnhardt. As they begin to challenge, that is for 6th spot. Putting a lap on Hillen, who's now come off the pace a bit. Earnhardt trying to close in on Rick Wilson into 4. Phil Parsons, they're reporting, is up to 7th after all those problems that Phil had earlier in the Crown Petroleum car. He's back in this thing again, making a very good run. Now, the other man in this group, doesn't matter. It's all irrelevant. It's right here. It's on the lead. 116 laps complete, and we have a challenger on Bodine. To the outside goes Rusty Wallace. Chevrolet on the inside. Pontiac on the outside. Richmond International Raceway live on the Superstation this afternoon. Here comes Wallace. Just motoring up the outside, and he sure has that car dialed in properly. He goes into first place. He just wheeled by.
Yeah, and I'm not sure in that situation that Jeff didn't let him go by a little bit instead of abusing the car, because he knows Rusty's hooked up. He's not in jeopardy of anything, and we have a long race.
Dale Jarrett has just pitted another time. Sawicki is 3rd. Trickle is 4th, and now Earnhardt has moved around Wick Wilson to take 5th. Wilson drops to 6th. Parsons still showing 7th.
Those first 3 cars are on Goodyear tires. Are on Hoosier tires, and Trickle's on Goodyear, and then Earnhardt's coming very strong, and we'll check those tires. But Phil Parsons is on Hoosier tires also, and that's helped him run past a bunch of traffic.
There's the crew standing by, the Richard Childers team. Remember that he is holding on to 5th place, and he's within striking distance. He is down about a quarter of a lap, maybe a third of a lap, to the current leader, Rusty Wallace. But the car that is of major interest at this point, I would say, besides this number 3, is the car that's just 2 positions back from it. And that is the 55 car of Phil Parsons, who had everything in the world go wrong. He lost the car, got into the wall yesterday, was all torn up. He had every sign that he wasn't even going to get out here to start the race today. And there you see him. He is up to 7th place, and he is closing on Rick Wilson.
Well, I tell you, I saw Phil Parsons and his guys struggling trying to get that car, and I was sitting there saying, gosh, they should have stayed home for Easter, man. But it's amazing how your luck goes. Hey, the way that goes, you come out here and win the race today. People have trouble. He wins the race, and you thought you were dead on the start.
And he was dead on the start. Had it not been for a problem created on the car number 25, the Folgers car, Schrader had a problem with his steering wheel. It took 2 or 3 laps as car was balking and stopping in the back straightaway. That's all that saved Parsons from not being around at the start, being 2 or 3 laps down now, and instead he's very much in and ready to challenge. Here's the number 3. Earnhardt in 5th, and he's looking for Dick Trickle in 4th right now. Earlier, we asked Dale Earnhardt that it was more fun coming into this Richmond race, leading the points, rather than being in 3rd or 4th.
Well, it is. It's going to establish the car to beat, whether you're the toughest that track or not. But I think the consistency of the team and the consistency of the whole season of winning that championship, we're a little unhappy about not winning any races yet. Been close, but, we still want to win in points.
A couple of thirds so far this year for Dale Earnhardt. He's still trying to collect those points.
What I love about Earnhardt, everybody's sitting there saying, well, Earnhardt, he's history, right? He didn't win here, he didn't win there, he finished second, and third. I was sitting there saying, one time in my life, I would like to own a team like that, that's first in points, but everybody says, gosh, y'all not doing real good, you only finished second.
Here is number 3, Earnhardt. Seeking Dick Trickle's number 84. Take another spot. Meanwhile, car number 48 is retiring from the race. Mickey Gibbs out of Glencoe, Alabama. Look at the struggle up in front. O'Dine pulling back up on Wallace a bit here.
This is the 75 car and the 6 car Mark Martin both came down pit road. So I'm saying tires are going to end up being the story of this race.
Morgan Shepherd now changing left side rubber, stays on pit road as the leaders come by to complete 126 laps, this time at Richmond.
Continuing coverage of the Pontiac Excitement 400 is brought to you by Wrangler, made in the USA, and by Sears, where you get your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Near capacity Easter afternoon crowd watching Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine have at it here. And in running down Jeff Bodine to take the lead, Rusty Wallace clicked off a lap at 23.65. That's 114.16 miles an hour on my Timex speed track. Rusty Wallace may have just won a set of Timex speed tracks for his entire pit crew. But the big story right now, fire sale on tires. And for that story, let's go down to pit road and Mike Joy. Well, there's another race here, Dave, and it's the race to the Hoosier Tire Store. Blistering tires, many of these Goodyears. And here's Darrell Waltrip's crewmen. Morgan Shepherd's and many of the top teams are here to get those Goodyears busted and have the Hoosier men from Lakeville, Indiana, mount up their brand of tire. Later in the race, who knows? It could swing the other way, and Wayne Torrance's Goodyear troops could get extra busy. Right now, they don't have much to do at their end of the tire store.
There were more tires purchased before this race for the big teams down along pit road. You saw stacked behind the pits for both Hoosier and Goodyear. And now the teams that hadn't done that are going back to the store and picking up some more rubber.
Right before we cut to commercial, we had Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin racing side by side. Harry's on Goodyear. He all of a sudden drops way back, had to come in and change 2 tires, but Harry Gant is still on Goodyear tires and is struggling with it.
And he has lost 1 lap. He has lost a lap. Mark Martin has lost 2 laps, and there are the leaders.
Rodney Combs coming in on pit road.
Badly, it looked like he might have got sideswiped in the car 34 on pit road. Here is car number 27, Rusty Wallace, up in front. The second place man is the number 5. That is Bodine. Then third, Ives Kowicki with 4th Trickle, 5th Earnhardt, 6th Phil Parsons in the 55. Outstanding run by Parsons after almost no luck at all as the day began. Then in 7th is Rick Wilson, 8th is Waltrip, 9th is Marlin, 10th is Ken Schrader. Moving to 11th is Lake Speed. 12th is Davey Allison. 13th, Terry Labonte. 14th, Larry Pearson. 15th is Ricky Rudd. 16th, Bodine, and Ernie Ehrman is in 17th.
I think a point we ought to make about this tire situation, guys, is that when these guys came here yesterday with only 4 hours total of practice time to set up for this race, the Goodyears were identifiably significantly faster. There was no doubt, and the field was split about 70-30 in favor of Goodyear tires. As they practiced and qualified, that situation shifted. The loyalty shifted. The stopwatches were indicating, no, wait a minute. When we get out here and run on this thing for a while, the Hoosiers seem to be picking up the speed. So that's the reason that you see all this shuffling in the middle of the race. You might ask, wait a minute, why are these guys going down and buying up all these tires at mid-race? Don't they know what's going on? Well, in fact, they didn't. They were tricked. They were surprised, if you will, by the transition. Everybody, I think, was surprised except the Hoosier tire guys who said, this is what's going to happen. They were ready for the onslaught. But frankly, Richmond continues to be a mystery to these guys, and largely the key or the key clue that they're looking for in that mystery is the right tire combination. Let's go down to Chris Economack here.
What you're looking at is the under-the-hood work on Morgan Shepherd's number 75. What seems to be the problem, Morgan?
Well, Chris, we got something ignition in the Valvoline Pontiac. You know, first of all, we had a flat tire. Then we had another tire problem. It just seems like the Valvoline Pontiac's been plagued with problems.
This car is making its first start in the Northern Hemisphere today. This car was built for a race in Australia that it won in December, and this is its first time out in the United States. It's not having good luck at all. Back to the booth.
Following up on that tire story, but again, you were not with us at the outset. 21 of these cars started on Goodyear rubber. 15 on Hoosier, and the change is now heavily to Hoosier. Since the outset of the event, Bodine, who set on the pole, has led, and Rusty Wallace has led, and that's pretty much the story as far as the leaders are concerned. It's been the pair of them continuing their dice. They are now leading by 5 6/10 of a second over the third-place man, Alan Kowicki.
Well, you can see now how well Phil Parsons is running. He has run down Dale Earnhardt, and they're both on Hoosier tires, so that means the car's not working quite as well as Dale would like it, and that could be just some chassis adjustment that will work later. One thing about the tire spin, I made it perfectly clear in the drivers' meeting, once you get to the final 100 laps of the race, the tire you're running at that point, you cannot change brands. So you have to make your mind up what you're going to finish the race on with 100 laps to go.
Phil Parsons, car number 55. Now into the 5th position. And closing. Now he's moving for Dick Trickle. It's been a sensational run. He's got about a second and a half. He's tagging along with Bill Elliott, who's being shown 1 lap down to the car number 9. There's Elliott. You know, Elliott is 212 points out of first place at the present time. Here's Waltrip coming out of pit road at number 17. Darrell Waltrip, who was running in 8th, pulls out of pit road. Last year, after 4 races, Elliott was 11th in the standings, 117 points out. Right side tires.
Well, Phil Parsons drove by Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott. He hadn't done that probably many times in his career, so that has to be a great feeling to go by cars that good.
You know, John, I still think that Elliott is going to be a major contender before this year is over to win it all. Remember when Waltrip came from 285 points back in 1981? He had about 9 or 10 races to go that year and beat out Bobby Allison for the championship. And he was like 230, 240 out in 82, and he came back and won it. So it's not that far back.
You can go to the bank with Bill Elliott's going to be a factor. He's one of the greatest race car drivers that ever lived. He's hurt. He's playing hurt, which everybody really respects him for. But when it you remember last year, Rusty Wallace won 6 races or something in the last half of the season, and I think 5 in the last half of the season. I think we're going to see Bill Elliott get on his roll, but he's got to get healthy.
As hard as the Winston Cup title is to win, it's even tougher to keep, especially when Lady Luck turns her back on you, just as it has on the reigning champion.
In 1985, Bill Elliott burst into the spotlight. 11 wins and $1 million bonus from Winston. But it took 3 more years for Bill and his family racing team to mature, to be consistent, to win the Winston Cup championship. A perennial fan favorite, Bill has long been the guy to beat on super speedways. But not until last year, his championship year, did he finally win a short track. Last month, the rich and popular champion went to Daytona to launch his title defense. Things quickly went bad. A blown tire, a bad crash, a broken wrist. Elliott needed a relief driver in the first 2 races and struggled to 11th place last Sunday. He's 26th in the standings and a long shot to repeat as champion.
Well, I just hope I can go all the way and be as competitive as I guess I was at the end of '88. You know, with everything that happened at the first part of the year, it's hard to really put yourself up, put your position. But when I finally get back in the race car and feel like I can drive it like I'm going to drive it, then I'm going to go like it.
Currently running 17th, Bill Elliott. And the biggest cheer here yesterday from about 20,000 fans who turned out for qualifying was when he put the 9 car on the pole briefly. About halfway through qualifying, he turned a heck of a lap, and it stayed up for a while, but it was not to be. As the cars ran faster, the weather seemed to be in favor of those who ran later in the day. Leader in traffic. Look at this. Right through there is the car number 25 on the outside and the body on the inside, and plowing right through the middle comes Rusty Wallace. Bodine right with him.
That's putting those cars down a lap. That's why it's so tough.
He is lapping the cars in 12th and 13th position. The white and green, number 27. That's the Pontiac of Rusty Wallace, putting Kenny Schrader in the Folgers car a lap down, carrying our Exxon Superflow camera, and the car of Terry Labonte, the Junior Johnson creation, the new Ford team this year. Back up in front to review. Wallace stays first. Bodine is in second. Kowicki is third. Dick Trickle is staying a good stout fourth. And Phil Parsons, having a tremendous run, stays fifth on the field. Sixth is Dale Earnhardt. Seventh is Rick Wilson. Eighth is Davey Allison. Ninth is Ricky Rudd. And 10th is Larry Pearson. Just outside that group, Lake Speed lies 11th. And as we mentioned, a lap down in 12th is Schrader just now, and 13th is Labonte. There's Ken Schrader still at work.
Rick Wilson is coming down pit road for tires. And let's don't forget Alan Kowicki. He's driving a super race. He's right close to the leaders. He's third and is always in a smart race car driver and takes good at race car. So let's don't forget Alan sitting back there.
The number 7 car, Kowicki, blasting through on the inside, and he's putting those men a lap down. Notice the white number 66, that's Rockbridge Jazz, Virginia, Rick Mass. He is running a lap down as well, but he's certainly cutting through traffic here.
You notice Schrader in the number 25 car slid real good right before Mass went under.
We had 4 early cautions, but the last 100 laps have been relatively caution-free. We're showing 157 laps as now being completed on this 3/4-mile track. We've gone 117 miles with 182 to go. Leader continues to be Wallace, Bodine in second, and it has been a 2-man show on this Easter Sunday thus far at Richmond.
There is but one way to win a Winston Cup short track as we watch this one live from Richmond International Raceway. That is to charge. You cannot stroke your way to victory on the short racetracks, and thus our True Value Hard Charger standings for this race also reflect the running order up front. Bodine and Wallace are having themselves a battle for the lead. Bodine holds a narrow lead over Wallace in the Hard Charger standings. They pay 5 points to lead a lap, 4 for second, 3 for third, and so on down through 1 point for fifth. And they keep tabs on this all day. $5,000 in awards up here this afternoon, $50,000 for the end of the season. Those were the standings as we came into this event. But for today, Bodine has the advantage thus far. And, of course, the bottom line is who's going to win the Hard Charger award at the end of the day and who's going to win the race. To check on the battle, let's go back topside to our man, Ken Squire.
It continues to be a 2-man fracas between Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace. Let's take a look at what happened here just moments ago as they were fighting for position. Wallace had been leading over the last 50 or 60 laps. This is in replay.
You see, Bodine jumped under him, and Rusty's car got just a little bit loose out going up in that upper lane, and he was just able to clear him there.
So that's brought around this kind of a situation. Bodine is back in front with 167 of 400 laps complete. Rusty Wallace is now in second. Kowicki is in third. Dick Trickle is in fourth. Phil Parsons is in fifth. And Parsons is the story of the moment in car number 55. From inside, you're riding with Phil Parsons right now, and he's trying to close in on that yellow car just in front of him. That is Dick Trickle. Here's the contest on the track, and you're with Phil Parsons. He tries to maneuver around out here and get himself another spot. That car on the bottom right now is the Hillen car. The Trickle car is up about another 100 feet in front of it.
Something happened to Bobby Hillen's car, and he slowed dramatically, and several cars had to get out of it.
He's coming into the pit. He's coming in. Hillen is coming in. And another circumstance that developed is Kowicki backed up there in that corner, and Dick Trickle is scooted around, and Trickle is now going up for the leaders. Dick Trickle going down the back straightaway, who just 10 laps ago was right in the hands of Parsons. Something happened on the 7 car. It's backed up, and here comes Dick Trickle. He is really hitched up.
Trickle is running Goodyear tires, so maybe that shoots down all this speculation. Again, he may have his car balanced perfectly. It's working well, and his tires are working well.
For the lead, car number 84. Trickle goes up in front, and he's only the 3rd different winner. Usually you have a scramble for the lead. That's not been the case here in our coverage of the Pontiac Excitement 400 from Richmond today. Anything but that. It's been all Bodine and Wallace until this moment.
Isn't that ironic? It's got a yellow rookie stripe on the bumper, and he just drove by all my Winston Cup rich heroes, Dick Trickle. And these boys going to have a hard time, but this is Dick Trickle's kind of racetrack. He spent his life on these kind of racetracks, and the man has a little bit of experience.
You bet he does, Johnny, and more than that, he's got determination and will. He's almost 40 years old. He knows this will be his shot at Winston Cup. If he's going to follow in the footsteps of his fellow Wisconsinite there, number 7, Alan Kulwicki, he's got to do it right now, and he got the opportunity when Mike Alexander, the driver of that car who sat on the front row here a year ago, was injured. Dick doesn't want to wish any ill on anybody, but as long as he's in this car on pit road, he is definitely going to take a shot at holding on to that ride. Let's go to Mike Joy for the pit stop.
Well, Dick Trickle, America's favorite and winningest ever short track driver, near 50 years old. He's a rookie here on this circuit, signed to run Rookie of the Year. The lead car making its pit stop, right side tires, and they are staying on the Goodyears, defying what has been the conventional wisdom of today. Right front of that car looks pretty good. Trickle is down, and when that jack drops, he's away. No unusual tire wear on Trickle's right side rubber.
Back underway, Trickle in his 18th Winston Cup race.
Phil Parsons,
1970.
Phil Parsons just drove by Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine to take the lead. It seems like Jeff and Rusty's cars have gone away a little bit, and Trickle just flew by them, and then here Phil just drives right by them, so I'm not sure what's happened to their car.
Phil Parsons from out of nowhere, from dead last on the field, from almost not making it today. There you are, riding with him in the Crown Petroleum, number 55, has really turned this race around. It's been one of his finest afternoons.
I'll tell you what, he's had some of his worst afternoons in Richmond, Virginia.
Terrible luck here. We've been with him several times, and going back to 84, it's not been much fun for him, but it's certainly turned around here in 89. His best finish in this race has only been a 15th. He's done that a couple of times. He's certainly making up for any old ground that he didn't cover before, but he runs this Richard Jackson car beautifully. You know, we talk about Dick Trickle as a rookie, but he's had 17 races. You have to run 5 races in a year before you lose your rookie eligibility. And he has finally signed on, taking the gamble that this could be his year.
Well, Dick Trickle's a rookie like A.J. Foyt was a rookie at Darlington a year ago. I mean, the number two car.
Ernie Irvan spins down in turn 2. Irvan around as Bodine is getting tagged by Rick Wilson coming out of 4 as they came to caution. Rick Wilson got into the side of Jeff Bodine and turned him sideways. They're able to collect it back up. There you see the 4 just in front of him. Ernie Irvan is back away. Caution is out. 5th one of the afternoon. Fortuitous for a lot of these guys. This is going to come at the right time. For some of them, they came in a little earlier.
Sure, I think everyone wanted to get a tire change. The pace car has not gone on the track yet because the leaders, it missed Phil Parsons when it went by, so it's got to wait till all these cars go by, so everyone's going to come in like they should.
And Parsons is the first one in. Phil Parsons catches a caution just when he wanted it. Phil Parsons on pit road, and it's wholesale change of positions. We'll be back with more of the Pontiac Excitement 400 from Richmond shortly.
You hear the thunder, thunder.
If you've been itching for the hot look, high performance, and driving excitement of a Pontiac Grand Am, now's the time to act.
You feel excitement. Get on your Pontiac and ride.
Get 4.9% GMAC financing on a hot handling Grand Am, or up to $1,100 cash back for qualified first-time buyers. Make your move. See your dealer for details today.
Hey, come on. Can't you do that later? Hey, I've always dreamt of owning a car like this, and I'm keeping it forever.
To some, it's an antique. To others, it's a dear old friend. If you truly love your car and want to make the romance last forever, protect it with Purelator filters. If you love cars, you'll love Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring. Every week, Auto Week puts you inside the world's most exciting cars: GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, old cars, columnists, the best classified anywhere. And nobody covers racing like Auto Week.
you get the fastest coverage of Formula One, sports cars, stockers, Indy cars. It's all in Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring every week. Call 1-800-554-2828 to get a full year of Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $17.25 for 52 issues, only 33 cents a week. You'll save 83% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-554-2828. Let Auto Week put you in the driver's seat every week.
We're under caution here at Richmond, Virginia. It was here at Richmond 18 years ago that Richard Petty began his streak of 513 consecutive Winston Cup starts. That streak ended here yesterday. Petty tagged the wall in turn 4 in practice yesterday and was unable to get that car spruced up for qualifying. And after a few moments of solitude, Richard spoke to Chris Economaki.
28 years ago, when this was a dusty dirt track, you won here, Richard. And now it's a beautiful new modern speedway. You're going to be a spectator. What does this do about make you think about yourself and being a racing driver? You want to stay on this business much longer?
Well, you know, I think it makes you more determined. Every time you have a setback, you just work that much harder to getting it straightened out. And we've been having trouble here, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 years, I guess. And the situations have been that a lot of stuff's happened that's not been under our control. Just freak things happening, run over stuff on the racetrack and cutting tires, or blowing up in the pit and burning people, and, you know, stuff like that that don't usually happen to anybody anywhere, and it's happening to us. And, you know, it just makes you say, okay, guys, no matter what they're going to throw at us, we're going to throw something back at them, and that's what keeps us coming back.
You think that NASCAR owes you a start in the race tomorrow?
I don't think that, you know, you have preferential treatment, but when somebody's been doing as much as we have over the period of years, they ought to be able to kind of bend something from time to time and make it work.
What's going to be going through Richard Petty's mind when you turn the light out tonight in bed?
I'm going to sleep. That's what I'm going to do. I ain't going to worry about it. Nothing I can do.
Richard Petty then quietly went home to Level Cross, North Carolina, to spend Easter with Linda and the grandchildren. Through all those years, all those wins, those broken bones, those fiery crashes, the graciousness of the man never changed. And he still has a lot of fans wherever he goes.
And I'm one of his biggest. I mean, the man's not only great on the racetrack, but I cannot put into words how I respect him as a human being, his lifestyle, and the way he helps people that need help. I mean, he is the king.
He has changed the perception of American stock car racing. We owe him a lot. Pace car bringing the field down by, and we are showing 185 laps complete here today at Richmond, Virginia. On the old fairgrounds, which took on a brand new attire after Richard plowed this track up a few years ago. Remember that? Yeah. They're showing 1 lap until they get ready to turn them loose once again. 1 lap until they are back underway. Richard Petty. No matter what the circumstance, remember at Atlanta when he had a tire go down, he hit the wall so hard?
We have a problem here up front. Rusty Wallace just drove by. Phil Parsons beat Rusty Wallace out of the pits, and Rusty Wallace just drove right around him under caution, jumped in front of him. I'm seeing him lift now and getting line. I'm sure NASCAR got word of their pit crew, so Rusty was going to try to make his position up real quick.
On the tail end of the lead lap would be the car number 9, Elliott, as I understand it.
Yes, that's correct.
And then actually leading the race is car number 55, Phil Parsons. And behind him comes Rusty Wallace, and then Dale Earnhardt is in 3rd. Alan Kowicki is in 4th. In 5th is Jeff Bodine, and 6th is Davey Allison, with 7th Rudd, 8th Rick Mast, 9th is Dick Trickle as they go back under green. On the brake, Parsons backs up. He didn't come up through the gears at all, and they sweep by him. Wallace goes by. Earnhardt goes by, still trying to get that car collected. He's being challenged by Kowicki. Now he seems to be at speed as he comes out of turn number 2. You're riding with him there on that restart. Either missed a gear or is lacking a gear as they came to the line. For the lead, up in front, the black number 3 on the inside. On the outside is 27, Wallace.
Well, we had a close call with Sterling Marlin and Alan Kowicki. They got together coming out of 4, but they pulled it back in.
Look at Elliott, broken wrist and all, trying to salvage this lap. He's running on the tail end of the lead lap. Wallace trying to bag him right here. 187 laps complete. Into turn one. Wallace on the inside. Elliott goes a lap down. And he isn't all the way down. He's fighting his way back out of two. He's got a good line. Now the pinch. And Elliott has to lift. So Wallace stays first. Earnhardt second. Kawicki third. Parsons back to fourth. Jeff Bodine is in fifth. It has been the Wallace-Bodine two-ring circuit from the outset on this Easter day. This is the start of the race, and car number 55 just, for whatever reason,
no, this is right on the restart, and that's when they got together. You could see them, and that was a real close call for Allen because he almost went around.
And it's just coming out of here. I thought we were going to see when they went by him.
Yeah, I think Phil must have missed a shift or something because they all went by real quick.
And the car you saw Kawicki bouncing off was Sterling Marlin on the inside.
Well, I think you get so pumped in a race car, it's very easy to do. Kawicki goes up into Phil Parsons, almost loses it there.
He's off the pace.
Everyone's driving by him on the outside. Something happened to Allen.
There you see the white and blue and several other colors, number 7. Falling on the inside. Here's the 15 going up. Brett Bodine around him in the Bud Moore car.
That's right. They go under you, above you. He's got a tire down. He's got a left rear tire down.
And he may spin and takes him. If he's not careful,
here he goes.
All the way around. That's going to bring them. They're going to clear him.
That could be a good break for him. If he can get this thing going around and get it back across the start-finish line, he will not lose the lap. He's trying real hard to do that. Here comes Rusty Wallace after him. Let's see if he's able to make it.
He looks like he just came out of the bleach box.
Bill Elliott trying to get his lap back.
Gets it. Elliott got his lap back at the line as Wallace lifted. And 9 is being reported as 2 laps down. That's one of them back.
That was a beautiful move. Now that's racing. That's big-time auto racing right there, buddy.
Wouldn't you like to see that one again? I mean, here was Kawicki limping lots of smoke. Wallace lifted for fear that he was going to run over something in there, and apparently the man on the radio for car number 9 said, stand on it. That's just what Elliott did and retrieves a lap.
See, now Kawicki, because he was just on the verge of being lapped, he has to go all the way around
Black flag for Kawicki. Consultation flag goes out for Kawicki. They want him in.
No, I think what they're doing is you have to black flag him because he's down, but I think he's going to go around as fast as he can because he's on the tail end of the lead lap, and he wants to jump all the way around the racetrack, grab 2 tires, come back out, and he will still be on the lead lap. But here it is in replay there, Allen. He was trying to get in, and he and Rick Wilson, he slid up into Rick Wilson and just went right around because they had that left rear tire down. But it may pay off to his advantage. You can see Kawicki's coming around at full speed, and I believe he's going to make it in time to get those tires and stay in the lead lap.
He's lucky he didn't collect that wall at the end of the pit road. Lake Speed and Rick Wilson have been penalized 2 laps for stealing a lap. 1 lap for doing it, they say. We'll more on that in a moment. Here at Richmond.
Turner Network Television, the new channel on cable TV with all kinds of good stuff. TNT, bringing back thousands of classic movies, more than 250 every month. TNT, the exclusive home of Muppets, Fraggles, Gorgs, and Doozers. TNT, new original motion pictures, movies you can't see anywhere else. The good stuff's on TNT. If you can't find the new TNT channel, consult your listings or check with your cable operator.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
Jeep Racing Team, the winningest team in off-road racing, goes nowhere without Craftsman tools. From their durable precision power tools to hand tools that are guaranteed forever. So, make sure it's a Craftsman, because you don't want to get stuck with anything else.
We both
have colds. Why is he bouncing around like it's a great morning anyway? Well, I'm so tired and cranky and headachy, I can't even get started. Why? Because last night when he said, let's take NyQuil so we can have a good morning, I said, why? What's the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, achy, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine got to do with morning, silly? He took it. I took his. Why?
NyQuil. It's also the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, fully rested, so take it at night and have a good morning medicine.
We're just 2 laps away from halfway here in the Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond, Virginia. Out in front is Rusty Wallace. Dale Earnhardt is in second. Phil Parsons trying to maintain third. Davey Allison in fourth. Ricky Rudd fifth. Jeff Bodine sixth. Alan Kowicki had been in seventh. But there have been problems on the Kowicki car. And for more on the story, let's go to pit road.
Ken, one lug nut. That's what brought Alan Kowicki back in the pit. They came around, changed all 4 tires, including the one that was shredded. But the man on the left front tire got 4 of those nuts tightened. And the last one, well, the car dropped on the jack before he could tighten it up. So Alan, when he hears the feels the jack drop the car, he goes. We're 1 lug nut short. Art Krebs, the NASCAR inspector, was right on the scene. He said, got to get them all, boys. So they brought him back in.
Now he's down a lap and a half as he comes back on the track. So Kowicki, who was a major contender, now runs outside that lead lap and falls back.
Kowicki still has been going at slow speed. He's really been in twice, so I think he has to settle now.
The leader continues to be Wallace, but now he has Earnhardt to contend with. The best of friends off the track. Let's see what happens on track right now.
Appears Harry Gant has his car working. Harry Gant's 1 lap down, but he is pulled right up on the bumper of Earnhardt. He'd love to get that lap back.
There you see Harry Gant. He's doing better these days. Remember, he had to have his leg re-broken, and they put metal in it to try to get him back together after that awful crash that he had a sharp thing on as
Neil Bond.
Neil Bond.
Russell Wallace coming down pit road.
Wallace coming in. Unexpected. He must have had a tire equalized.
Now Harry Gant will get aggressive after Earnhardt because he needs that lap back.
Gant trying to make up a lap.
They're going to the right side on the 27 car. It's one of the best crews in America you watching there, fans. They are fast.
Tire change and out. He still may go a lap.
9.9. Look at that stop. 2 tires, gas in 9.9 seconds. Whew.
Just like your crew used to be, John.
Oh, no, we weren't quite that fast. But we did win the National Pit Crew Championship, and I'm glad you brought that up in 1984. Huh.
A minute and a half, 2 minutes.
What? Yeah, we had different rules then. We won.
Here's Harry Gant at car number 33 on the inside, getting that lap back.
Well, I think Harry has his car working now. And he and Dale sort of...
tire, car in the wall in turn 1. It is Neil Bond, rather it is Terry Labonte's car, number 11. It appears to have socked the wall, and here comes Gant.
Here's a race to the flag.
Back. Coming to the line, a tremendous fight to try to get his lap back at the line.
He did.
Looks like Gant got the lap back.
He made it.
Well, you could hear a tire blow. You could hear it like a howitzer going off up here. And slamming head on into the wall goes car number 11. Terry Labonte. Really tearing up that Junior Johnson car. Hit the front end, hit the back end. That one really took a beating. Leader is on pit road. Earnhardt comes into the pit. Parsons pitting. Waltrip pitting. Schrader. Rick Wilson comes in. Bill Elliott, who's made up a lap. Gant has made up a lap. Field tightening up here in Richmond after a disastrous crash for Terry Labonte. Just over the halfway mark in this race. We're at lap 208 now. Terry Labonte dove into turn number 1, and it exploded like a cannon. And the car ripped into the wall in turn number 1, almost head on, then spun and took the backside of the car as well. Now, Terry Labonte has come out of the machine. He has walked to the rescue squad, and he's being taken back in for a checkup, but he really took a lick. As we reported, he walked to the ambulance, and he is now being taken to the infield here.
You know, Ken, we said earlier that the wall at the entrance of pit road almost came into play a couple times today, and that's one of the questions that all the drivers had. Is that a dangerous situation?
There you see it.
And they discussed that the same situations at Atlanta and at Dover, they went through several places like that. Neil Bonnet said he didn't care if they put it in the infield, they'd race against it low.
Going to run it within an inch.
Yeah, so
they moved that wall some from a year ago.
Yeah, and they angled it off.
A year ago, look, when it was further out on the track. Remember what happened to Patty Simcoe? That was Pocono, Pennsylvania. And then remember this awful crash at Atlanta. Don Marmer at Atlanta, and this terrible crash in the ARCA race. He's still on the mend from that one.
And that's what concerns the drivers. So they did cut an angle to it, but Dick Beatty said today in the drivers' meeting they're working on all these walls to angle them at an angle where it won't come into play that way. So it is something that NASCAR is on top of and trying to improve.
And, of course, another major concern that it has been for many years, and certainly after last week is on everyone's mind, is fire. Chris Economaki has more on that.
Well, that fire last week at Atlanta triggered some real quick action by Bill Simpson, the safety equipment manufacturer. You can see Kenny Marler, Dale Earnhardt's gas man, with his new apron on, helmet with a long collar. I've got an example of the helmet here in my hand. This is flame retardant Nomex material. It comes down inside the apron. Now, if any gasoline is spilled on this apron, it repels it. Now, however, if it's attached, the apron is attached by Velcro fasteners, so it's a quick-release apron. You can pull it off in a matter of moments. And, of course, he's got his fireproof gloves on as well. And underneath the apron is the Nomex flame retardant suit. So he's very well protected from the fire. That fire so frightened people here at Richmond, the two corporate executives from the Sun Oil Company, sponsoring Sterling Martin's car, are here watching the race in Nomex flame retardant material. And for more on this story, let's go up pit road to Mike Joy.
Chris, I'm in Phil Parsons' pit, and you'll see that many of the men here are dressed in fireproof suits, not just the fuel men. Roger Fortney, who's the second gas man, he's got a suit on, and so does Ronnie Aycock, the primary gas man. But jack man Gary Brooks, the catch can man Roger Owenby also wears a suit, so does rear tire changer Tony Lambert and tire carrier Corey Scott. Gary, all of you guys are wearing fire suits. Now, this isn't required. You folks have taken it on your own.
Well, you know, with the incidents we've been having lately on pit road and stuff, everybody feels like it's a lot safer. You never know if anything can happen, and if it does, you want to be prepared for it.
There's only one man on this crew that goes over the wall without a flame-proof suit. That's Claude Queen, the front tire changer. Someday, perhaps, we hope soon, he'll be kind of like Ron Duguay, one of the few NHL hockey players to go on the ice without a helmet. Nomex is becoming the sartorial splendor of pit road, as I know Chris would say.
Well, what these folks can't remember is Eddie Thrapp, who works with the U.S. Tobacco Motorsports program, is a close friend with Phil Simpson, and they decided at that point to go ahead and make these people wear uniforms, and Eddie Thrapp's the one that started this stuff.
There's Brett Bodine's car being pushed off. He had the car just break down out here. His brother is back on pit road, and they're looking over the right side of that car, taking some time right now on car number 5. Not sure what the situation is here, but that looks serious on Jeff Bodine's car number 5. More from Richmond shortly. From the Pontiac pace car, the view looking back over the field here in the 400 at Richmond today. Phil Parsons is leading. Rusty Wallace in second, Earnhardt third, Davey Allison fourth, Ricky Rudd is in fifth, Larry Pearson sixth, Dick Trickle seventh, Alan Kowicki is in eighth. And then in ninth, the lap down is Ernie Irvan with Darrell Waltrip in 10th being shown a lap down. Gant is in 11th being shown a lap down. And Shirley Marlin is in 12th. 2 laps down. And 13th is Rick Mass as we get set to go. Mike Waltrip is running 14th, Bill Elliott in 15th. And they're putting out the caution for still another lap as they sort out this field.
Well, what happened is Dick Trickle's been fighting up front with the 8 car for a spot. Now he's coming on down pit road. He's got a tire going down. If you look at the 84 car coming down pit road, 84 car has the right front down. You can see the sparks flying, and that's what he was trying to do, is get in.
And you can see as he goes by, he's going by Jeff Bodine. Here's the situation on Bodine. Brake caliper, right rear is locked up, and Mike Joy has more on that story.
Well, if you can see inside that full-face Simpson helmet and the Nomex hood, you can see a long face on our pole sitter, Jeff Bodine. Jimmy Johnson's the team manager for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmy, what's the problem?
We're running the brake caliper. Side rear brake caliper.
How long did it take you to replace it?
It took about 5 minutes. We lost about 3 or 4 laps.
Okay, they replaced it on the right rear on Jeff Bodine's car. He will rejoin the field laps down. These cars run four-wheel disc brakes, unlike their street look-alike counterparts, and so making a change like that is fairly easy, but here, time and lap consuming.
Dick Trickle, they're making a four-tire stop down there, and they're getting ready to drop green, so he's certainly in danger of losing the lap.
Field coming down out of turn number 4. Trickle is away as he tries to come up to speed. Field breaking on this track just on the tail end of the lead lap is Alan Kowicki in the 7, so therefore the 55 car, which is leading, is directly behind him, but he can't come up to speed on the start. And he falls back 10, 15 cars immediately. Everybody trucking underneath Phil Parsons as you're riding with him. That car just will not come up through the gears, and therefore we have a new leader coming by to the stripe. Give it to number 3, I believe. Earnhardt as your leader. Earnhardt in first, Wallace in second.
Yeah, there's something serious wrong with Phil Parsons' car. He must have a tire going down or something, because he went straight to the wall when he came up. He's coming in for a pit stop.
Phil Parsons, number 55. Ducks on the pit road is number 3, Earnhardt. Draws away. So what the circumstance here was on him, he had such a great run this afternoon, but it's all coming untethered at lap 218.
They're changing right side tires. I'm sure he had a tire going down, and he will be going down a lap right now.
He's sitting in his car on pit road as they clean off the windshield. Meanwhile, the field thunders by and he goes down a lap. Getting back on the track, 13 seconds and back underway comes Phil Parsons. Not going down a lap was Dick Trickle in the 84. He's running just barely in front of the leaders by about 2.5 to 3 seconds over the current number 1 man on the field, Earnhardt first. In second is Davey Allison in the 28, and with him comes Rusty Wallace, and there's where the challenge is. Now Davey Allison, who came from dead last on the field. There's the sort out, and boy, what a scramble that is for second.
And isn't it Richmond, Kenley? You get about halfway through the race, and all of a sudden the guys that look like the good horses start slipping to the back. Kowicki went back with his tire problem. Bodine has a brake lockup. He's out of there. Trickle has a tire problem. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. Parsons, who had come from the back all the way to the front, now goes a lap down. And through it all, old Davey Allison just marches from, 36 starting spot all the way to second place. It's going to be interesting to see who can survive to the end of this thing.
Now he's running in third. 27, Rusty Wallace is there. Wallace getting around him in a great battle for second in heavy traffic.
One thing today, Ken, we have not had a really dominant car. I think Jeff Bodine early was a little stronger than everyone else, but I think there's several people that can win this race, because this is a racetrack that's proven already people can get their laps back. Here we go, 21 car into the wall.
Spinning. Around goes the Wood Brothers, number 21. Mentioning Neil Bonnet in trouble. This is a break for Trickle. We're going to race all the way back to the line. Coming to the stripe. Kowicki will make up his lap. That'll get Kowicki back in the field as the caution comes out again. Major break for Alan Kowicki, and I believe for Larry Pearson as well. Larry Pearson has gone down a lap. I think he's going to get one back here. Talked to David Pearson this morning. And there's the spin and the tire.
Yeah, and I think the car, boy, it just jumped right in front of the 6 car of Mark Martin. He was so lucky to miss this. Watch how close. Look at Ricky Rudd. He just misses it. Watch him spin right back in front. Just barely.
So for another time, it's a caution situation here at Richmond this afternoon. We'll be back with more of the action. There's plenty of it in a moment.
Promotional fees and considerations have been paid by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Winning on a NASCAR circuit takes dedication, teamwork, and a strong will to succeed. You'll find that same spirit in the Air Force Reserve. We've got a place for you on the winning team.
And by Crown Central Petroleum Corporation and Fast Fare Convenience Stores, proud sponsors of Phil Parsons' car number 55. And by Pontiac, America's road car company. Pontiac, we build excitement.
Showing 229 laps complete here today. 171 to go, 128 miles remaining. Out in front, Earnhardt, Wallace second. And Ricky Rudd is being shown third on the field. Phil Parsons has stayed fourth. Caution helping him out a little, keeps him up in the hunt. The big story is Dick Trickle, who's coming out of the back of the field and finding his way up through. There he is. There he got caught up. Almost lost the lap in the pit. Got out here just in front of the field. This latest caution has given him an opportunity to catch up with his field, and he is scooting from the rear, barreling through traffic now as he tries to catch up with those leaders. Car number 84, Trickle. Here are the men up in front. There's Earnhardt and Wallace running 1 and 2, and here's Wallace coming into the pit. Rusty Wallace is back on pit road. Here's Mike Joy.
Wallace whistle pass will go up to that end, and Chris Economaki.
Well, we're here with Kurt Shelmerdine, Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. We know he's leading, Kurt, but Davey Allison started the last row, and he's up to second. Is Dale upset? Can he handle that challenge?
Well, we'll just have to see. The tires are kind of unpredictable today, and we're just going to have to play the whole race by ear and see what we can.
Has Dale complained about his tires?
He can't run them hard without tearing them up.
There's the secret right now from Kurt Shelmerdine. Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. Back to you.
Can't run them hard without tearing them up was what he was saying.
Yes,
about the tires.
And Dale is such an aggressive race car driver, and so is Rusty, and I think they're punishing the tires a little bit. I tell you, Bodine, who is down several laps, is not that far behind, and Harry Gant, who is down 1 lap, is right on Bodine's bumper, so these guys want very much to run Earnhardt down to try to get a lap back.
Let's review the top 5 for you. Earnhardt is in front. Ricky Rudd now shows in second. Alan Kowicki is third. Davey Allison is in fourth. Dick Trickle is in fifth. Larry Pearson is in sixth. Rusty Wallace in seventh. And they are being shown in the lead lap. And it has been the excitement of the moment to watch the car number 84 from the Stavola Racing Team with Dick Trickle bounding through those lap cars as he tries to get back up front and contest for the lead. He was running right behind Mark Martin at the present time. Meanwhile, Earnhardt gets a breather out in front.
Oh, Phil Parsons up into the wall. He tried to go 3 wide there. He's facing traffic in turn 2. Looks like he's bent it pretty good on the back.
Phil Parsons' car, he really has bent it all the way. Looks like he's taken that rear clip all the way to the ground.
Yeah, I think that one will be bent bad.
You're live inside of Phil Parsons' car after he took a hard hit. Bouncing off the wall. Let's watch it again.
You can see he just hits the quick dry and just zips right in there. And that's the same thing basically that happened to him in practice. If you get too high here, the car will just go right around on you. It's almost identical to the car that he destroyed in practice.
This is his second car here this weekend, and this one is not looking any too well. Boy, look at that front end.
It's really a shame for them to run as well as they ran and had the problems they had, but they sure had good showing today, but I think they're out of it now.
Bad break for Richard Jackson here and his team with Phil Parsons, the driver, in the Crown car. There you see it again, slapping the wall in the rear, then turning around, taking the nose. And he had put on some exhibition as he had come from way out back to come up through traffic, give it a good shot. Now, from his point of view, let's see what happens, John.
He had to dodge. Those 2 cars touched. Rick Mass in the 66 car got together with Michael Waltrip, and he made an evasive move to go high, and he got up too high, and the car went just around on him. There's just nothing Phil could do except do that or run into the back of Michael and Rick. So that's just one of those things in racing you just can't fix.
Well, there's the car that remains of number 55, and the Crown Petroleum car is now out of competition here at Richmond this afternoon. New leader, Davey Allison, appropriates first position. Inheritance, the issue here for him as they come by. We'll be back for the start again in a moment.
Continuing coverage of the Pontiac Excitement 400 is brought to you by Wrangler, made in the USA, and by Sears, where you get your money's worth and a whole lot more.
We're live in the STP Pit Communications Center here at Richmond International Raceway, where the leaderboard is as significant for those who are not there as for those who are. Davey Allison has climbed the ladder from dead last to lead the race. He's your defending champion. Larry Pearson, thanks to the shuffle on the caution flag, has ascended to the runner-up spot. Dale Earnhardt is the dominant force in the race right now. He's the only guy who's been able to get to the front and stay there all day, although they are battling tire problems. Alan Kulwicki has had all sorts of adventures, has been as much as a lap and a half down, but has now regrouped to rank 4th and on the lead lap. And Ricky Rudd, likewise. Remember, he was Johnny Hayes' pick to win this race, had problems early, is now back in 5th spot. Question is, what happened to the guys who were up there? Well, for Jeff Bodine, it was a brake caliper that lost him about 3 or 4 laps. And now Rusty Wallace has dropped out of this lead quintet. To find out what happened to him, let's go to pit road and Chris Economaki.
Well, if you can take a look at the left side of Rusty Wallace's number 27, you can tell it's the Richmond of old. There's tire marks along the left side of the car. However, the car is in good shape, says the crew chief. They had to make a stop a few laps ago to get a wheel nut tightened. The reason for that was the wheel wrench went bad. And now they just went up to talk to one of the officials here about some problem that Rusty, who's getting to be pretty political behind the wheel. But right now they say that the car is in good shape and should be doing well once the green flag comes in. Here he is one more time, and you can see those marks on the side of the car where somebody has been rubbing up against him. Now this is a surprise stop with this pit crew, and it's right front tire there. As Kurt Gilberdine said, you can't run these tires hard without tearing them up, and Rusty Wallace is not a conservative driver. Okay, let's go down pit road to Mike Joy.
You're looking at Robert Yates, team manager, team owner now for Davey Allison. Well, we talked to Davey at the front of the show, and he started back there in the poorhouse. You raced him up to second. Now you've inherited the lead with the caution flag. You didn't stop this time. Why not?
Well, 10 laps ago, we stopped, and we'd already run 20 then. So we had stopped then, so we're staying out this time. The other guys have 30 laps on their tires. They're good for about 80, it looks like. So we elected to stay out.
If Davey runs the car hard, does he risk tearing up the tires?
Well, he's having to be a little conservative, as easy as he can be. But, you know, you can't be so conservative and not get lapped. So we've been just managing to hang on, and so far the brake's been going our way.
Now, the next set of tires you have lined up here are scuffs. They have laps on them. Why scuffs and not sticker tires, new tires today?
Well, I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference. Right now, they're mounting tires as fast as they can, trying to get them glued up, and we'll probably change them to stickers after a while.
Okay, Robert Yates.
The busiest concession here at the racetrack is the tire concession at the present time. As you watch the leaders, here are the folks from Hoosier staying really busy. On the other hand, there's not too much activity over around the Goodyear area right now. I think the price goes down as the day goes on.
No, I don't think price is a factor.
No discounts. The blue light didn't come on around here anywhere?
Yeah, when it costs these teams about $50,000 to run one of these races, I don't think they're going to try to save a few $100 on tires.
244 laps are being shown complete. Getting set on the start. Davey Allison started dead last. Now is the leader. Larry Pearson comes to second. Dale Earnhardt on this restart will be third. Alan Kulwicki in fourth in the lead lap. Fifth is Ricky Rudd, and sixth is Rusty Wallace on the tail end of the lead lap. 1 lap down in seventh is Harry Gant, number 33. He was just in front of the leader, then came in and made another tire change just moments ago. And Dick Trickle is being shown a lap down in eighth. Waltrip is a lap down in ninth. Ernie Irvan is in 10th. And then 2 laps down is Sterling Marlin in 11th. With Michael Waltrip 12th. Bill Elliott 2 laps down in 13th. 14th is Schrader. Now you're seeing Sterling Marlin's car. That is the 11th place car, pace car. The Pontiac pace car drops onto pit road. And the Pontiac Excitement 400 is back underway with Davey Allison up in front. Walter trying to get a lap back, and he gets pinched off.
What a move Earnhardt made right on Bodine. Their old friends are back together, but you can watch this one get aggressive because Bodine put a big move on Earnhardt, and Bodine's down several laps. So Darrell Waltrip better hope that he doesn't get caught up in this one.
The yellow and white, number 5 of Bodine up on the high side. Remember, he is 3 or 4 laps down. Here comes Waltrip on the inside, and Bodine moseying along on this racetrack, trying to take 1 lap back. He's not done with this thing. Here's Waltrip a lap down in the 17, and the black number 3 of Earnhardt is the second place car. Back to the inside, Bodine just reefs on that wheel. Gets it to the bottom of the racetrack, holds it down there, and slams his way up the inside. He is going to get a lap back. Remember, there's bad blood between he and Allison after that incident at Daytona.
I'll tell you, Rusty Wallace started all the way at the back and is flying through the field. He's right on the bumper of Dick Trickle in the 84 car, and it's getting tough now. Everybody's starting to push and shove and bully, and I think they think there's going to be a lot of caution, so Bodine says, hey, let's go for it. I might pick 4 laps up if we have enough caution.
Less than 150 laps to go, and to the inside, car number 3, Earnhardt, working for the lead. Here's Earnhardt on the bottom, and Allison tries to cut him off at the pass. And that very quick first turn. Still side by side into the back straightaway, and here's Earnhardt. As of old, right down there, using the shoulders. He comes up through. Davey Allison falling to second. Chevrolet goes in first. Ford is now second.
Earnhardt is the kind of guy who can take an ill-handling race car and probably do more with it than any other driver in the world. In this case, his car owner, Richard Childress, says he has by far the best handling race car on the racetrack and has had all day. They're smiling like the cats who ate the canary down there because their car is working so well. They're not wearing out the tires. Childress says the reason these guys are blowing the tires and wearing out the tires is that their cars aren't handling as well, and when they try to stay out as long as we do, then they wear out their tires and we don't. So Earnhardt not only is perhaps the best driver out there, certainly the point leader right now, but also has the best handling race car, and that means that the rest of these guys may be in very serious trouble.
Well, you talk about Earnhardt, but I'll put another one right in the same category as being able to take anything, ill handling, good handling, whatever it is, and that is the 84 car for Dick Trickle. He is used to things that don't work very well, and this is the best chair he's ever sat in when he moved into the Stavola car. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a crack at making that lap up. There you see him side by side with Wallace.
And you know what was great last night? Dick Trickle and Rusty Wallace were having dinner together at the hotel, best friends, and watch them lean on each other, bounce, not give each other an inch. You know, the contrast is unreal. Watch them get after each other.
Meanwhile, just in front of them is Darrell Waltrip. He's trying to get a lap back, too, here. We asked Waltrip if it seems like everyone has won the first 3 races like it was the last 3 of the year.
I see that, too. But, you know, it's not just this year. I've been seeing that for the last year or two. Win at all costs. Win at any cost. Do what you got to do mentality, and I never liked that. Well, I won't say I never liked that. I ain't liked it lately. I think you got to use a little discretion. You got to give and you got to take. And like I always say, what goes around comes around. If you give a little today, you'll get it back tomorrow.
Thoughts of a somewhat different Darrell Waltrip than we heard 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, one thing I love about Darrell Waltrip, he has already won 2 races this year, and he never was really considered the dominant car or the factor. The thing that's a little scary about Darrell, there are certain races he's going to dominate, and he's off to just a heck of a start.
Couple of wins already for the 17. Out in front is the number 3. Bodine is running faster than anyone on the track. But he is running from several laps down after a brake problem if you're just joining us. And if you are, there have been 9 cautions to date, 9 of them. Lead changes, 9 among 6 drivers. Now car number 48 is putting out a little smoke. And it looks like that the car of Mickey Gibbs, who has been in and out of the garage area today, is in trouble another time. He's back to the garage area. Mickey Gibbs running for Rookie of the Year. Here's your leader. Earnhardt in front, looking for his third win here. 36 cars started, 28 are left. Chris?
Yes.
Got a report from you, sir?
Yes. Here we have Phil Parsons standing at the back of his car. It's all apart. There's about 8 men working on it frantically here, trying to get it fixed so he can get back in the race. You can see Phil towards the back there with no hat on, wondering whether they're going to get the car fixed here. Cutting with welding torches on the front end, hitting the back end with a sledgehammer in a frantic try to get this car back on the track before the day is done. These guys are really working at it. Back to you.
And trying to get Phil Parsons back in this race. Also trying to get back in this race from 4 laps down, officially reported, is Jeff Bodine. He is running 22nd, is the late word. We do one piece of business here. The member of the Richard Petty crew who was burned last week and has been in critical condition, they've upgraded that report now and say that it is serious condition, and he sure likes those cars. Robert Callicut. We'll give you an address here in a second as you watch second place. There you see that's the number 27 car of Wallace. Remember that Alan Kowicki is in second. Davey Allison now third.
There's another car that's interesting in there. The 33 of Harry Gant started dead last on this start. He changed from Goodyear tires to Hoosier and has flown through the field.
Look at this battle for the lead. Down to the inside, Alan Kowicki motors the Ford. That little team that has such a big heart and has such a marvelous way, winning their first race in Phoenix a year ago, they're going back in front another time. Average speed in the last lap on this 3/4-mile track, 113 miles an hour, and Earnhardt will not let go. This is a good one. Chevy on the outside, Ford on the inside. Doesn't get much better than this.
Ken, let's give Larry Pearson a call today. He's running in 5th place in the lead lap. Just done an outstanding job.
Larry Pearson back in 5th. 4th is Wallace. 3rd is Davey Allison. And here's the confrontation for the lead. It is Earnhardt back on the outside, going for first place another time. How about that?
Well, this is the way it's supposed to be. And one good thing about Alan Kowicki, he's conservative, he's smart. He's not going to use the car up, but if he can stay right on Dale's bumper, maybe he can loosen Dale's car up a little bit, use those tires that make him drive in a little deeper, and take it a little easier than have to try to bang your way around.
Remind you racing fans around the country, Robert Callicut, who was burned so badly last week in that incident in Atlanta, Georgia. He's in the hospital, be there at least better than a month. And that's the Humana, H-U-M-A-N-A Hospital in Augusta, Georgia, if you want to drop him a note. A lot of people have, and he is most appreciative, and everyone in the Petty organization also sends along their appreciation for remembering him in this springtime period when things aren't so good for him. Robert Callicut. One of those guys whose names you don't know but contribute so much to this sport because without him there aren't any superstars.
Well, again, it goes back to how key the pit crews are and people work on pit road. There's a dangerous situation.
Here we go. 3 cars for the lead.
You know what I like about this sport, Johnny Hayes, as we watch Kowicki go by Earnhardt, these guys pay attention to these broadcasts, okay? So when somebody comes out and says, boy, Earnhardt's got the fastest car out here, he's the best driver of the bunch, and he's going to blow all these boys away. A couple guys like Kowicki and who's that in 27? Rusty Wallace, who was a lap down, say, what do these guys know? Let's go up there and show them who's really driving today. And Kowicki's now your leader. Earnhardt is second, but only until Rusty Wallace drives around him. It's a pretty good show, don't you think, Hayes?
I think it's awesome, and it's fun to see old Alan Kowicki, one of those old Yankee boys, come down here and running in front of a boy from St. Louis and an old boy from Kannapolis. Whatever happened to that good old Southern sport? All these other people are coming in now.
18 states are represented. I can remember there were drivers from 3 states in this race. 18 different states are represented in the starting grid today.
Keep in mind, too, guys, that a bunch of those people that call North Carolina home didn't start out in North Carolina. They kind of moved down here, and they're Southerners by
by transition and not by burst. Point right now, I think, is that Earnhardt, who was so good, is suddenly quite bad, and Kulwicki, who was quite bad, is suddenly very good, and Rusty Wallace is right there with him. This is a whole new race, and we got enough time left that there might be another challenger emerge. Somebody else who was up there, like Trickle, for example, could get back up into the thick of it. It's a good show here at Richmond.
Let's go to Mike Joy for the tire story.
Well, here's the production line at Hoosier. These machines are much like in your local gas station, and 9 technicians are mounting tires at the direction of Larry Talbot. The crews come up, and he kind of orders them. I bet Hoosier loyalists may get first shot. But the jam-up is over here. There's only 2 balancing machines. Robert Yates told us that they put sticker tires on that car when they had them ready. Here's his guy here, 5th in line for one of the 2 balancers. He may have to get a little aggressive like his driver, muscle his way up there, get those tires done, and get them back up to pit road.
So the tire story continues to be a big one here. The battle for the lead is an exciting affair. And back in 4th place, Davey Allison is having all he can do with Larry Pearson. Here they are. There's the 28 on the outside and the 16 on the inside. That is the battle for 4th. Davey Allison is in 4th, and Larry Pearson having a dandy run. He's come up twice, pulled almost alongside. Up here in turn 4 a moment ago, he twisted it nearly sideways as he tried to run Davey down.
Well, Larry's just done an outstanding job. David, I'm sure he's tickled to death, but you can see the 28 car is starting to smoke those tires, and Larry puts the pressure on him and use those tires to hopefully dive under him. And, of course, Davey just wants to keep him behind, stay as low as he can.
16, Davey Pearson, Larry Pearson in that 5th position, closing on Davey Allison another time. This is for 4th. 274 complete of 400. 274 down. Turn 1. Davey Allison hangs right in there. Larry Pearson, who had a couple of great years in the Grand National Series of NASCAR. And here he is to the inside. Just inching along up in there. That's a good one. David Pearson, the owner of that Buick. Brother Rick Pearson, crew chief. And there's Larry Pearson snuggling down on the inside of turn 1, sneaking through to take first place.
David's going to be hard to live with. Larry, this is the best show Larry's ever had in the Winston Cup car. He's up to 4th place, and he's really done a job, and he's not out of control. He's doing a super job. You see the yellow sticker for the rookie.
And Shirley Marlin in 11th is also. See him down on the inside going under Davey Allison. Billy Hagan car. Leader speed, 114 miles an hour. They picked the level of this race up a bit. In front, Alan Kulwicki by himself now at 114 miles an hour. Kulwicki beginning to show some real strength here today. Remember that Bodine is running 4 laps down. The established route to the top of the Winston Cup standing is to sign on with a proven team, but the sport is occasionally blessed with an unlikely title contender who prefers to go it his own way.
Alan Kulwicki is a little like stock car greats Freddie Lorenzen and Darrell Derringer. By outward appearances, he has no business in this business. It's a sport of the South. He's a man of the North. His foes traded higher education for a racetrack apprenticeship. He's a college-educated engineer. His trademark is self-reliance. For 4 years, he's run his own team. When he finally won a race, he turned down all the rich driving offers that followed to remain his own man. Kulwicki could easily have won this year's first 2 races. He's tied for 2nd in the points.
You know, at Rockingham, the caution flags didn't go our way. At Daytona, we got a flat tire, but when you run that well, you're that close to winning, you can't be disappointed. Our morale's up right now.
We're here with Paul Andrews, Alan Kulwicki's crew chief. He's watching what's going on over there. Paul, Alan owns his own car. Who runs his operation? Does he run it from the wheel, or do you run it from the pit here?
Well, it's a joint effort. Alan and I both try to work together, and Bill Eagle and I, we work together in the pits and try to keep Alan calm down and keep everything going smooth. It's just a joint operation. We're all working together.
How many more stops do you need for fuel?
We're going to have 2 at this point. It'll take 2 more stops at this point.
Okay, thank you very much and good luck. You got an excited young crew chief in Paul Andrews. Back to you.
Alan Kulwicki, one of the smallest teams out here. Only 4 full-time employees. But look at this young man run. Car number 7 is Kowicki. Pride of the Midwest.
We leaned on Jeff a little bit that time and pushed him up, so Allen's getting a little more aggressive here, and Rusty follows right behind. Now we have the Bruce brothers running side by side, Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine.
Somebody asked Allen what his favorite racetrack was, and he said it would be the first track I would win a Winston Cup race on. And Phoenix is not my favorite track. And look who's suiting up and getting ready to go again.
Phil Parsons. This is not going to be a whole lot of fun, but I think it's a tribute to the crew and the driver to take a car that's that destroyed and get back in. It shows you what Winston Cup points mean to these teams here.
Crown Petroleum car, after that terrible hit in turn 2, is going to come back out and go some more. They race for points. Rick Wilson very loose up here in turn 4, almost turned it into the fence. Gets it picked up and continues on. Meanwhile, the 21 car, which had a problem and spun, that car is back on pit road. Neil Bonnet, 15. Brett Bodine has been in for a couple of laps with a hood up on it. And car number 7, Alan Kowicki, continues to pace this field. Wallace 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd, Larry Pearson 4th, Ricky Rudd 5th, and it is Davey Allison in 6th. 1 lap down in 7th is Harry Gant. Dick Trickle is in 8th. Darrell Waltrip is 9th, and Ernie Irvan is 10th. Sterling Marlin 2 laps down in the Billy Hagan car, stays 11th.
Phil Parsons is getting ready to come out, and his race car does not look like the race car. It has no trunk. It looks like it's in deep trouble.
It's like a street stop.
Watching Alan Kowicki on our Timex speed track here, we get him a lap at 23:69. That is not the fastest lap of the race, but it is within 400 thereof. Unofficially, we still show Rusty Wallace as being the quickest man thus far, but Kowicki is running at speeds close to the quickest that we've seen throughout the race, and as a result is able to pull away up front. Very impressive when you consider that this is the guy who blew a tire, spun out, got penalized on pit road, and looked like he was history.
288 laps complete this time by, 112 to go. As we watch Kowicki going for his 2nd Winston Cup victory, staying out in front. There's a great mystery to me about that driver and about that car. Here's a University of Wisconsin graduate. He talks like an engineer, and then he comes out here and he runs it. He now probably is not as romantic a looking race driver as a Rusty Wallace, but you want to get somebody that can stand on the throttle and get it done. There he is. Meanwhile, car number 48 is back in once again. Mickey Gibbs has given it a try. I think he's about to retire totally for the afternoon. It's the Pontiac Excitement
400 live on Turner Broadcasting. We're here in the SCP Pit Communication Center where Alan Kowicki was leading when they all went to pit road. Not a routine pit stop. It is a yellow flag. Here's the key. Lap 296. It's decision time. You cannot change brands of tires in the last 100 laps. I've just been handed a note that says Ricky Rudd getting off those Hoosiers, getting on those Goodyears for the run to the flag. So that will be a reversal of the trend that we've seen all day. Will other drivers do that? We'll be checking that out when we go back to green flag racing. The other big question, is Ken Squire an executive producer or not? We'll worry about that one after the race is over. Right now, we're going to let him call the action, can we?
There's trouble afoot here, John.
Well, Dave Despain certainly doesn't know what he's talking about, because I saw the Hoosier tires on Ricky Rudd's just go back again.
They did?
Yeah.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
It's tire troubles in the Ken Schrader pit, too. They take a pyrometer, measure the temperature on each tire that comes off the car. These just came off Schrader's. Here's the right front. 225 all the way across. That's very good. Now, you try to match that up on each tire on the car. Here's the left front, a little cooler, 215, 210, and 220. It's not carrying quite as much load. But get back here to the right rear. 230, 232 degrees, a blister, and a tread separation. These tires are Goodyears. They've had trouble with those. These tires are Hoosiers. They've had trouble with those. What does that tell us? Ken Schrader's team has kind of missed the setup here, or perhaps he's just driving the rubber right off the car today.
Sounds like there's a place for a new tire company there, John. You could put the Hayes tire up. Yeah. 1 lap, and they're going to be back underway.
We could go with the Squire tire or Square tire.
Alan Kowicki is first. Dale Earnhardt is second as we get ready for a go. Rusty Wallace third. Ricky Rudd fourth. Davey Allison fifth. Larry Pearson sixth, and only his 10th Winston Cup race. What a dandy job he is doing. Just doing this. Richard Petty not with us today. Did not make the field after 513 straight starts. And that string started right here in Richmond, Virginia, where his dad won the first Winston Cup race of that nature that was organized years ago. Richard won here on dirt. Could not make the cut. Could not make the provisional start. Davey Allison and Dave Marcus getting those provisional positions for this race. So Richard was not here. And NASCAR has worked so hard over the years to always make sure they maintain that marquee for the paying customer. I wonder if they might change the rule to make it Winston Cup champion to get an automatic position, but they'd have to work for it. They'd have to qualify or something. Where they have tried so hard, but now the competition's so good, got so many good cars running, it's tough on even great champions. Here we are, back underway. Kowicki out in front. Whoa, Dick Trickle loose for a moment. He's trying to make up that lap, and here comes car number 3, Earnhardt. Now, Earnhardt and Trickle have run each other a lot over the past few years on those short tracks. Earnhardt likes to go out and run those half miles. So they know each other pretty well, and they know each other's style. A little bit of respect there.
Well, Trickle touches barbed wire, so he's not a bit afraid of either one of these guys. I mean, he's seen it all come together.
And here comes Bodine trying to make up another lap. If you watch the second place going to Rusty Wallace. Wallace taking over in second. Back to the stripe comes car number 5 with about a 3-inch advantage over number 7. Now Kowicki comes up on the high side, but it is Bodine down to the bottom, the man who's set on the pole, trying to make up another lap. Kowicki runs him really hard now, and he's willing to stay on the outside. That uses up some rubber off those tires.
They're flat racing hard, but when you have 2 cars running side by side, it lets everyone catch up to you, and Kowicki's not giving an inch because he's on the outside, and that's the toughest place to be.
A year ago in this race, Alan Kowicki lost a crankshaft and put him out of this thing. Back in '87, he sat on the pole. Remember, in '86, he came here and failed to qualify. Look at this struggle up in front as Kowicki is trying to contain Bodine. No question about it. That Waddell Wilson car is as fast as anything here, but Kowicki stays with him. And they line up in double file a little further back. Rusty Wallace getting into it. And Trickle trying to take a lap back. Those 4 cars, 2 of them, one of them, the 84, a lap down. The yellow and white number 5, 4 laps down, and trying to get another lap.
They got together because I saw the smoke fly, so it's getting a little touchy now. And
check with our statistician, Greg Fielding. 3 or 4 down on that number 5 now. So much for that. They're reporting 4 laps down a while ago. Now they got him at 5, and I saw him take a lap back. I don't understand that at all. He didn't stay in the pits. It must be they just recounted. But I'll tell you what, Bodine is not giving up. Now he is getting taken on the outside by Wallace. Leader speed 115 miles an hour. So that's an escalation of about 3 miles an hour. And that would tell me that Kowicki is willing to use up some of that car and some of those tires. But he must be very confident about the suspension on that machine, that he does have the right handle to go that hard and take that kind of a gamble. Here comes Wallace in the Pontiac down on the inside. Leans up in there, gets sideways. That's old-time Richmond racing. Kowicki in the Ford stays first. The Pontiac in second. Reviewing for you the overall look of the field here. 303 laps are complete of the Pontiac Excitement 400. Richmond, Virginia. Over 40,000 folks have turned out in beautiful weather on this Easter Sunday to enjoy this great event that was postponed because of snow. That happened a couple of years ago as well here at Richmond, Virginia. 8 inches of snow the week after the Daytona 500 brought us here on this lovely afternoon. Lead car continues to be number 7, Kowicki. Rusty Wallace right there, and a couple of Midwestern runners who squared off against each other in the ASA competition for years. Now go forward in the big time. David?
Kenley, we have a new fastest lap in the race, and it comes in the final 100 miles, and that's pretty interesting, I think. Alan Kulwicki, obviously with a great setup and knowing that the checkered flag is waiting, clicks a lap at 23:43. My Timex speed track tells me that's 115.25 miles an hour. Pole speed was only 120. Alan Kulwicki trying to win his crew, a Timex speed track computed for every member of that crew. More importantly, trying to win this race, and from the looks of the way he handled Jeff Bodine there, he may have the car to do it.
Earnhardt is third, Ricky Rudd is fourth, and John Hazen at the outset here today, you were touting Ricky Rudd as the one to watch. You talked about this tire business with Rudd. As we get under 100 laps to go, do you think he's ready to step up the pace and go for it?
Well, he doesn't seem to be quite as strong, but he's been able to hold there the entire time, and if the right break comes, but he's right there on Earnhardt's bumper, and he's certainly doing a good job. The leaders are running 115 miles an hour, so, you know, the speed is coming up.
They've sorted out a lot of traffic, a little more confident about running. In fact, it is a clear track halfway around for Alan Kulwicki. He's not having to worry about lap cars at this moment, 8 cars. There are still 36 running. A correction on that. 36 started the race, and let's get a recount on the number of cars that are falling by the wayside here. 10 cars out, 26 cars still running. That's the battle. And that is not the, that's the 16 and 28 still last and fifth. There's a pretty good battle developing for third between 3 and 26. There you are. Third spot right there. Back to the lead. Car number 7, Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki with the advantage. We asked him about this Richmond race and how it's treated him over the years.
It's been good and bad to me. I like the new track. We ran well here last fall. We were just off a little bit at one point in the race and got a lap down. We made that lap up, but never got a chance to get another yellow to get back in contention. We've wrecked here. We've won poles. We've done everything but win a race, and that'd be the next thing. That's what we're looking for.
Let me tell you another thing Alan Kulwicki's looking for. If he wins this race, it would put him on the winner circle plan. And that's worth several $100,000 to you over this year.
Now, why wouldn't he be on because of winning Phoenix last year?
Because they take the top 9 people, and they had 9 other drivers that finished higher in the point standings or won more races than he did. And he and Phil Parsons missed being on the winner circle because of that. So the first car that wins the race out here that's not on that program was on the circle. So Kulwicki's looking at a $200,000 payoff or more just for the winner circle plan.
312 laps are now complete. Dave Despain, Chris Economaki, Mike Joy, John Hayes, Ken Squire with you today. And as we watch the leader, now let's go back and take another gander at third spot. There's Earnhardt in the number 3. And right with him comes Ricky Rudd, who had a second place finish here a year ago.
Several times today we've seen what we describe as blood feuds out there, guys between whom there is a bit of bad blood. And here's another pair right here that have been engaged during the course of this season. Happened up at Rockingham. Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd bumped together. Rudd thought he could win the race. He said Dale hit him. Dale said, none, I'll have none of that. But the point is that there's always that desire in the back of your mind to even the score. And right now, Ricky Rudd may be thinking about that as he gets another shot of Earnhardt here. And remember, they are racing for third, so they're both very much in contention to win the race here today. A little like wrestling, you know. They build up these rivalries between these guys. And interestingly enough, NASCAR has taken a new approach this year. They're having little encounter sessions for the drivers instead of disciplining them like they did a year ago with Earnhardt when he and Bodine tangled. Now they're bringing them in and sitting them down, and the jokes say they bring them some popcorn and some soda, and they look at the replays and they talk about what happened, and we joke about it, but in theory the idea is to get that feud settled with that incident so that they don't take it on down the road. I think it's an interesting approach, and I think it further reflects how high the tensions run with these guys when they're out there racing for $1 million championship.
Isn't it nice that they've taken on some of those Eastern establishment ideas to help these drivers along? They're having these sessions to help them understand each other better.
How would you like to sit down with Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine face to face and have a logical conversation with either one of them? Not possible. No, I'm not buying it. It's not helping.
One of the healthiest runs here today is Ernie Irvan in the car number 2. He is now running in 10th position, and he's looking for his first top 10 finish since 1987, back in the Charlotte 500 in October when he finished in 8th spot, and he nearly didn't make it. He crumpled the car so badly they had to take the second car off the truck, and he's having an excellent day in this car number 2. That is the 10th place car, running 1 lap down. Directly in front of him in the same lap is Harry Gant, and the closest to challenging him is a lap away from him in 11th, Sterling Martin, who is 2 laps down. So Ernie Irvan is having a good one. Meanwhile, Kowicki in number 7 stays up in front. There you see Davey Allison, who has sorted out Larry Pearson. He's moved back into 5th. And here's Mark Martin in the number 6 car. He is running 15th and is being shown 3 laps down. There's Mark Martin in the 6th car, 3 laps off the pace. Roush car. Let's take a look at attrition thus far in the event as we get into the latter part of the race. Jim Sauter early out. Derek Coates, Greg Sachs, Rodney Combs. Morgan has retired. Eddie Bierswale's car. Terry Labonte in that hard crash in turn 1. He walked to the ambulance. Brett Bodine is retired. Mickey Gibbs has been on again, off again. He is now out. That's the story of who is no longer here. This car number 6, Mark Martin, driving the Roush Racing Team car. There's one that I still think in time to come, knowing Roush and his attitude about racing, has to be a winner.
Well, they qualified well, and they run well in every event. I think they're the same as all the other 4 teams. They're having to work hard to get that car balanced, to get used to what it needs. And all the Fords have been just a touch off there, except Kowicki, I guess, and he's downtown doing well.
Difference of a lap between them. A couple of Fords further back in the field getting a gander here. Mark Martin gets around Davey, but he's got some going to do if he intends to get back into this one. And look at him go around Phil Parsons in that terribly dilapidated car number 55.
You could jog around and go by Phil Parsons right now. That car is hurt bad.
That's like that old joke. If it was inside that beaten up old car, got the mechanic and said to his driver, "Can't you go faster than that?" He said, "Yeah, but I have to stay with the car." There's Phil trying his best out here this afternoon after a tremendous performance early in the day. Now let's take a look from the Soldiers' car. Next on camera, giving us these pictures from Ken Schrader's car number 25. And his day has not gone as he might have wished. He is running outside the top 15 now. They've had some problems on it. The Bodine car had that brake problem. And what we've seen out of Bodine, I would think that he would be a major contender had it not been, if, in capital letters, the caliper problem on a right rear brake.
Well, I think early in the race, Bodine was the dominant car, and he's still running well now.
And you see Mike Waltrip in the car number 30. Brand new car, first time out. They're using up the old engines. Kenny Wilson, who left Richard Petty to go with his team, has gone back to the old Richmond engine. And these new engines, they're preparing for Darlington next Sunday. Here's Bill Elliott's car number 9. And he is back in 12th position. He is 2 laps off the pace, driving with a broken wrist in a splint. And as I mentioned earlier, if you weren't with us, yesterday in qualifying, the biggest ovation of the day was when he put that number 9 on the pole. It didn't stay there for more than 15 minutes, but when it did, this crowd showed their appreciation for this great Georgia driver. Mike Joy?
And we're having a look at the Ricky Rudd pits as Larry McCrum and team talk about team strategy and tire strategy. Down here, they're remeasuring tires, taking a look at the combinations to see what best can go on that car. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
I'm down here with Ernie Elliott. Ernie, you got 1 second. How does Bill feel? He's doing very well on the track. How's his wrist? I'm not saying about how he feels, so I really don't know. Are you happy with his drive? I feel like you're happy with his drive. Are you happy with his drive today?
Well, you know, there's not much else they can do except just ride around. That's about it right now.
Can you make it to the finish with no more fuel?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. A concerned Ernie Elliott here. Back to you.
All right. He's doing some riding around. Here he is, still well over 100 miles an hour, staying with his field, just 2 laps down. Bill Elliott, driving hurt and smiling through it. 12th place overall. Running 3 seconds down is Rusty Wallace at this point to the leader, Alan Kowicki. There you see Kowicki in number 7. And even though Kowicki has an engineering degree, John, remember University of Wisconsin back in the late 70s, he says he'll probably never go back to the engineering field. You know what he's going to do when he gets out of this?
No.
He wants to own a restaurant. See, he's crazy enough to be a race driver.
Oh, it's great. Don't you know his mother and father are proud of him? They spent all that money to get him through college, and he's driving a race car. They could have saved their money. I hope Alan will give it back to him after, if he wins this race, give Mom and Dad the money back.
You're just a born troublemaker, aren't you, John?
I'm going to call his mom that.
I'm a little surprised at you. Here you are on big family day, and you're out here playing around with these race cars like you have all your life, and it's your mother's birthday. You're not even home. Boy, are you a disappointment.
Well, I wanted to be at home with my mother. I love my mother. She's 68 years old today. I should have been in church with my mother like I've been ever Easter my whole life. And I had to come up here and be with you and Fred Reinstein. I mean, you know, you got to have priorities.
Faith, and you're going to be here no matter what, like another 50,000 here today. Alan Kowicki maintaining the lead by 3 1/10 seconds. Earlier, we asked Alan about his thoughts on that $1 million bonus in the 1988 Winston Cup Championship race.
It's really a little bit early in the year to be thinking about points, because before the year's over, we're all going to have some misfortune. Everyone's going to blow an engine or have a wreck here and there. So it's really a little bit early to be thinking about points, but that $1 million, it's a magic number, and it's got everyone keyed in on that. Everyone's thinking about it earlier than ever before. It'd definitely be the thrill of a lifetime to win that.
That's Alan Kowicki. Among the other marks that he has record for the longest rookie acceptance speech in the history of the Winston Cup Series.
Bill Elliott got real loose coming out for that time, lift those tires up. I tell you one thing that's always bothered me about people like Alan Kowicki. He's worked his whole life to make the money to be competitive. There's people like you worth $50 or $60 million, and you're sitting there saying $1 million means so much to Alan, and it does.
John,
and you don't understand that kind of money.
John, you tell more stories than anybody I ever. Just watch the monitor. Look at him smoke the tires on car number 9. I mean, Elliott, here he is out here hurt. Watch him pick it up.
I think that's a real good measure of Bill Elliott, the race car driver right there. That is not an easy thing to do with a broken wrist. Bill went to the doctor this week up in Indianapolis. He's had the sports medicine specialist, Dr. Joe Randolph, up in Indy working on the wrist. And the doctor said, Bill, you got to drive with the brace, but you're okay. Basically, he got a clean bill of health. I think for Bill Elliott, the next half dozen races are going to be the ultimate frustration. Doctor says he's well enough to drive, to go out there and drive, but he's not able to do with the car what he needs to win races. He's lost the momentum that he went to Daytona with, and now it's going to be very frustrating to sit there and wait for that arm to get well enough that he can really do what he needs to with that car. On the other hand, if he can make saves like that, it won't be long until he's able to get in there and mix it up with Earnhardt and Waltrip and Kowicki and the boys and win races again.
I'll tell you what, this is a tough track here, but now he goes to Darlington, which will be just as tough next Sunday. He asked Bill about his wrist and how it felt.
All right, it's been pretty good. The one on the left, you know, at least I got it out of the cast now and out of a brace. I still got to wear a brace while I'm driving, but, you know, it's not near as restrictive as the one I had in Atlanta. So, you know, I feel a lot more comfortable in the race car, and I feel a lot more comfortable with what I'm doing. You know, now I just got to get back into racing mode.
Lead changes among 7 drivers thus far as Kowicki continues to lead, and nobody getting close enough to compromise that. He's leading now by what, 4 seconds? 5 1/10 seconds between first and second. He's having just a magnificent run. Let's go to Chris.
I'm down at Alan Kowicki's pit, and I just checked with the crew, and they say they can't make it to the end on the gas they have. They're going to have to stop. Most everyone else out here, it seems, can make it to the end. So Mr. Kowicki's going to need more than a 4-second lead if he expects to win. Back to you.
Chris, I guess the question is Rusty Wallace able to go the distance? Does he have the legs to take the Pontiac all the way to the finish now? Car number 27.
Historically, Rusty has not gotten great gas mileage, but there's a guy, number 17, he can stay out there and get some gas mileage. I don't know if he's still in it or not.
But he's a lap down, and we have 343 of 400 complete, John.
Yeah.
Getting late in the day for Waltrip to make a move. He needs to be in the lead lap about now, and I don't see that happening. 25, Schrader, the Folgers car, with our Epson Superflow camera. He's back on pit road another time, as Kowicki continues to try to build anything up here to give himself just a little advantage so he can drop in, take on just enough fuel to get him home. Try to do a Walter.
If you have to pull in here, I guess Dale Earnhardt, Rusty, they tended all to get the same kind of gas mileage. Ricky Rudd tends to get better gas mileage. He's got Lou LaRosa, who we call money on pit road. He left Dale Earnhardt for the money, I think. And we just call him money, like Michael Jordan has money, and Lou LaRosa has money. So Louis gets a lot of good gas mileage, so maybe.
And Ricky Rudd is fourth.
Yeah, so maybe Ricky Rudd will win.
He's lying there in fourth. His time is running out, and he's very, very close to catching car number 3, Earnhardt. There you see the Earnhardt car, the black number 3 and the green number 26 is the Kenny Bernstein team, the Quaker State car, up on the outside, trying to pull through some machinery, going around Neil Bonnet, sorting that field out and looking for Dale Earnhardt. Is this man, Ricky Rudd, the winner here in 84. Remember when he won that race, he had to tape his eyes open. He rolled over about, 8 or 9 times down at Daytona. The Scotch taped his eyes open so he could see, all beaten up. And he came out here and drove just as fine a race before what is really a hometown crowd for him. He's out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Here he is, Ricky Rudd, at number 26. Last year, second in this race. Won it in 84, and he was second here in 81. New track, of course. This is the 3/4-mile track. If you were with us last year, you saw the old Fairgrounds track. This track has really followed the times, and our congratulations to the Sawyer family for this great facility. This is as good as it gets now, Winston Cup Racing. It is a beautiful track, not a bad seat in the house, and just about filled up, with the exception of the new temporary grandstand they put in the back straightaway. It's a great house here today.
With the Kenny Bernstein car, it's amazing how many people in drag racing now watch Winston Cup Racing because Kenny's in it, Raymond Beadle's in it. There's other people looking that they'd like to get into it. So all the people in drag racing now are starting to follow this sport.
Well, Kenny Bernstein has contributed so much in every form of the sport, and this Ricky Rudd team, he wants it to be a national champion. Let's check on the fuel situation down on pit road. Talk to our pit reporters. First to Chris Economax.
50 laps, 37 miles. You got enough fuel to go all the way?
We're okay on fuel, Chris. We got a tight set of tires on right now. I'd like to have a caution. As far as fuel, I think everybody's okay.
Thank you very much. Well, there you hear it from Rusty Wallace's crew chief.
Chris, down here in the Dale Earnhardt pit, I think Danny Myers and his friends here are done. Earnhardt has enough gas to go the distance, but crew chief Kirk Shelberdine said, he kind of laughed and said, I'm not too sure about the tires.
So tires still as big an issue as they were at the outset. We thought that story might go away a little today, but that is not the case. Old Spain called it. It is an issue and is going to be right to the finish. Alan Kowicki, could have won that Daytona 500. Had a cut tire. Last 10 laps, he was out in front, and he had the fuel range to run that day right to the finish. With that cut tire, it gave the race over to the conservative Darrell Waltrip, who came home the winner. Building toward a finish here, and the question is, has Alan Kowicki the mileage, the range, to make it to the checkered flag?
A little over a month ago, when Alan Kowicki did not win the Daytona 500 due to misfortune, he said, I'm not that disappointed because, after all, you win Daytona, what's left to do in your career? You can bet that today he would like very much to win this Pontiac Excitement 400. We're in the STP Pit Communications Center, where we watched Alan Kowicki lap Davey Allison. The fifth-place car is now a lap down. It is among these 4 drivers. Kowicki the leader, Wallace second, Earnhardt, who now has a bad set of tires and is sliding all over the racetrack, and Ricky Rudd. That's the quartet that will
decide it. And we're moving down toward the end here. The big question is fuel and whether this thing will stay green to the end. To call the excitement to the finish, let's go to Ken Squire.
Lap 20 down, 40 to go. Kowicki stays out in front. Somewhat different than that inauspicious beginning for him on this racetrack back in 1985 when he wrecked in practice and didn't make the field. Came back here in 86. Didn't make it that year either. Qualifying was rained out. Field determined by car owner points, and he failed to have any and had to miss that one as well. My, how times have changed. Here's Earnhardt's number 3, running in 3rd spot, right behind Dick Trickle. Let's go to the...
Michael Waltrip just bounced off the wall, but he was able to continue.
Got one car in the wall. One car in the wall in turn number 4. It is Waltrip bouncing off the wall, coming back to the line. Car number 17 has brought out the caution.
That's wild. Michael hit in exactly the same spot. Then his brother Darrell came in. There must be something slick up there that got him into it.
You can see where the line is building up on the outside of 4. It's the right side of the car which grazed the wall. It's able to continue. He made a good save on it. He hit it flush on both the front and rear. He didn't get one side in as it comes by. It doesn't look badly hurt. I guess the rear end got raked a little, but that was it. And there's some smoke coming out. It may be a tire rubbing on Darrell Waltrip's car. So now we're up to the 11th caution of the day. Here's Mike Joy.
This could be the pit stop that wins the race for Kulwicki. He was last in here at lap 292. They would have had to stretch 108 laps. They're getting 4 tires. Bill Engel whips that jack around the car, Junior Johnson style. The lug nuts are already loose. Off go the tires, and the new ones, Hoosiers, go on. So Kulwicki will have 4 fresh tires, thicker tires to go the distance. And he's away.
Ken, how would you like to be there and going to have Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace right behind you? So they're going to go after Kulwicki hard, and they're going to have fresh tires and rust.
All 4 cars. We have 4 cars in the lead lap. Here's the situation. Caution created by Waltrip in turn 4. Kulwicki leading. All 4 leaders come in to take on fresh rubber. They have the fuel they need. They have all the security there for the distance to be covered. Kulwicki was leading. Wallace was second. Earnhardt third. Rudd was fourth. Those are the 4 in the lead lap. Lap down 5th. Larry Pearson. Dick Trickle staying 6th. Davey Allison 7th. Waltrip was in 8th when he had that little altercation. Then in 9th is Gant, 2 laps down. Ernie Irvan is 10th. Sterling Marlin 11th. Michael Waltrip 12th. Bill Elliott 3 laps down in 13th. Lake Speed in 14th. Can you imagine finishing 13th with a broken wrist? And it's still painful, and I'm sure it's hurting by now, and he's still doing the job. He is something. 15th is Mark Martin. 16th is Rick Mast. Showing 17th is Rich Wilson. So we get set for a shootout here today, and with 365 laps complete, just 35 to go. We square off to settle this Pontiac Excitement 400. Now, as they shape up on cars, we have a Ford, Pontiac, Chevrolet, and Buick in the mix for the lead at the end of this race. If you don't know who to cheer for, you can cheer for a car. Here's a report on Rusty Wallace's car from Chris Economy.
Well, the interesting thing about Rusty Wallace's pit stop was that all he got was 4 tires and fuel. They did not touch the chassis. No adjustments. So Rusty's happy with the car, and I'm wondering what if the story was on Kulwicki's pit stop, if any adjustments were made, Mike Joy.
On it, we're going to check with Paul Andrews in a minute here when he comes back into the pit and see if they change the stagger relationship with the circumference on the tires. But there too, they didn't twist the bolt, and I imagine Kulwicki running so well, they tried to get exactly the same setup on the car that they had for that last long run of green flag racing. Go back upstairs.
I think we're about a lap away, 2 laps away from cutting them off again, sending them back under green in this caution period. And there was something that was bothering those cars up in 4 and getting them loose. They've had the speed right crew out trying to rectify that situation. Didn't you like what 1 to go? Didn't you like what Waltrip said after the 500? The old guys don't use as much gas as those young guys. They don't push the pedal as hard.
Darrell,
you know, to a degree, that was true. He didn't push the pedal.
Oh no, and he drafted well and everything. Darrell Waltrip just this past week visited with the President, the First Lady in Washington, D.C., and he said in the drivers' meeting, you just cannot believe
what a real person President Bush is. He said it felt like being home with your family. Mr. and Ms. France were there with him, and he said it was awesome. He had never been treated like that by someone so important.
Only Darrell Waltrip after the race last week in Atlanta, Georgia, when Richmond Lane would say something like, "And George, I'll see you in Washington on Thursday."
Said he was great. He loved it.
Pace car is coming in. I understand Mrs. Bush was very gracious.
Oh, yeah.
Follows the races really.
Yeah.
Here we go. Down for a start. Getting ready to finish it up in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Alan Kowicki leads the way. Wallace is second across the line. Earnhardt breaks the inside net. Black number 3 in third. Ricky Rudd having trouble coming to speed. Rudd falling back on the start. 6, 7, 8, 10 car lengths. Now he's at speed.
Harry Gant stopped almost on that. He's coasting down the backstretch very slowly. I don't know if he's lost something in his transmission, but he's going down the backstretch slowly.
7 and 33 had hit each other under yellow, under the caution as it came around, and something is amiss on Gant's car. It's back on pit road. Meanwhile, up in front, Alan Kowicki. Here comes the battle for that front-running position. Well, there's the hit down there in the back straightaway. Great battle for first place. On the outside, Rusty Wallace going for it. That was a hard hit between Alan Kowicki and Harry Gant, and I wonder if it has upset this car number 7 a bit. Here's the 27 on the outside. Wallace trying to persevere. The Pontiac Excitement 400, if Wallace can win it, they might give him a new car. Here he is in the back straightaway. Rusty Wallace up in front. Kowicki to second. Earnhardt by third, and Earnhardt has yet to play his card.
Well, he's coming hard, and he's just going to watch and let these two guys play it out and hope he can stay close enough to take advantage.
Kowicki back on the inside, dives underneath Wallace as we get down to the side. It's a Ford on the inside, Pontiac on the outside, Chevy in third, Buick lies for it. Back straightaway, wheel to wheel, outside, rim ride, it's Wallace. Back comes Kowicki on the inside. Everybody on their feet as we get down to the side this one. Dandy race. Wallace is going to switch grooves. He throws the dummy. He goes to the inside. Look at that move by Rusty Wallace. He faked to the outside and won like he was on a quarter-mile track and then dove to the bottom. And here comes the man in black. Car number 3, Dale Earnhardt. Can really do some short track driving. If there's anything left in that car, it's about time for him to explore those front 2 positions. Wallace to the wall. Kowicki stays with him. Earnhardt just waits his time.
That was a big league stock car racing move Wallace put on, and I think that took just a little bit out of the number 7 car driven by Alan Kowicki. So, but Alan's car seems like it's stronger, and he's just going to have to fight.
And Rudd continues to fall back. Something is amiss in the final moments on Ricky Rudd's car in 4th place. Harry Gant has just passed him up. Down into turn 3, there is something really amiss for the Kenny Bernstein team at this point. They have now fallen 20 car lengths behind the number 3 car that is running third. The story is up in front. There lies Rusty Wallace in that lead. Alan Kowicki in second. And what a performance these two have put on for this gigantic congregation in Richmond, Virginia, as we watch it live on the Superstation this afternoon. Here on PBS they come, home of the NBA. Back to the strike. 3:76, the 400 complete. Rusty Wallace trying to win it. He feels Richmond owes him one. He feels he lost the Winston Cup championship on this track last year after that altercation with Jeff Bodine. Alan Kowicki, who came here for 2 long, hard, depressing years. Crashing in practice the first year. Here's Kowicki building up for another try on the inside. He keeps pushing down to that bottom there, and he keeps working the groove a little higher. Wallace not giving an edge. So similar to how they ran for years out in the Midwest, what we're seeing here right now. Don't forget the back in 5th. A lap down is Larry Pearson. Dick Trickle stays 6th. 7th is Davey Allison. 8th is Waltrip. 9th is Gant. 10th, 2 laps down, Ernie Urban is having a great day. Lead change coming up. Oh! Sideways almost.
That was close.
And that's a good drive. Whoa, car in the wall. It looks like Trickle has slammed the wall in turn 2. Ooh, just getting through with Rick Wilson. Caution is out. Now you really do have a sprint to the finish here at Richmond today to top off your Pontiac Excitement 400. Well, gather their forces one more time. It may be an opportunity for Ricky Rudd, or it may be academic. There may be something more seriously wrong with that car.
And you know, Kowicki had fought the battle, finally got by, and I think he was ready to drive off, and he gets another caution. Now he's going to have to refight that struggle, and he's got to try to beat these two guys out of the pits. And Earnhardt and Wallace have two of the best teams in racing, pit crew.
All four leaders in that lead lap pull on to pit road. Rudd is in, Kowicki is in, Earnhardt is in, Rusty Wallace. So we're building for another dramatic Winston Cup finish, and you'll see it here on the Superstation in just a matter of moments.
We're back at Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway. 18 laps to go. Harold Elliott, team manager for Rusty Wallace. What's it feel like to stand here and watch your driver lose the lead in turn 1 and get it back in turn 2?
I don't really care to watch it, Mike. He's doing a good job. Alan's doing a good job. You know, the two's been doing some clean racing. They got Earnhardt back there. And I tell you, I know he's just waiting on a chance for either one of them to miss a beat.
And we're going racing. We're going back to green.
18 laps to go. Wallace in front. Earnhardt second. Kowicki in third. But here's the skinny on Kowicki. He is saying on the scanner that the race is going to come back to him, John.
Well, the race might come back to him and all that sort of thing. But, man, I'd hate to have to go by those two guys in front of him, because there could be a little mirror driving in this deal. Now, I never accuse those two guys up front looking in the mirror, but I would assume that might be the most important part of their race car right now.
I hope you don't have to ride home with either of them. Here's Wallace up in front, Earnhardt in second. A battle of two great intimidators. Both of them are brave. Both of them have great confidence in their skills as drivers. Alan Kowicki so poised and cool, lying third. And the Ricky Rudd car is seeing a little better than it did before, although he has 3 lap cars between himself and those 3 leaders. Kowicki, who suffered so much frustration, is going after Earnhardt. Lap trickling away, and Earnhardt is being challenged on the inside, and Kowicki stays right there with him. He noses the Ford down on the inside of the Chevrolet. The frustration and dejection of 2 years ago being replaced by confidence and determination, and Kowicki is going to second.
Well, I guess if you can drive around Dale Earnhardt, maybe getting around Rusty Wallace ought to be a piece of cake. Obviously, Kowicki, being the engineer that he is, knows something the rest of us don't. The race is coming his way. Earnhardt, remember, has struggled the whole second half of the race trying to get the right tires to make the car work. That's a Goodyear team. They don't run Hoosier a lot. Perhaps that's part of the problem. Wallace, on the other hand, has been a lap and a half down, now has the advantage over Kowicki. I think he's going to be a little tougher to catch than was Earnhardt.
Well, I think I was really proud of Dale Earnhardt, because, you know, Alan obviously had a better car, and Dale basically pulled over and let him go by, and he could have used the racetrack up for a long time. I think that's a real show of sportsmanship.
388 down at 400. And you see the interval between first and second. The issue, can the Ford overhaul the Pontiac as it did the Chevrolet? Wallace really setting sail here in the last lap. Let's get some times on him. With new rubber on, he's running as fast as anything we've seen in the entire distance here in the last moment on a slippery, greasy 3/4 mile, 14-degree banking in the turn.
Yeah, indeed, Ken. We show a 1:15 and 3/4 mile per hour lap on Wallace, 23:32 the lap. Now's when it counts, and he uncorked a good one. By our tally, that's the fastest lap of the race. Maybe we should have had the watch on Kowicki. Looks like he might have picked up a couple of laps, or a couple of car lengths that lap.
Best finish for Rusty Wallace ever in this race, third, 1987, working on a win. 116.1, David. You better get those computers ready to give to the Rusty Wallace team. 116.1. That looks for us like the quickest thing that's happened today. Back comes Wallace another time. 390. 10 to go. Advantage, 12 car lengths. Kowicki trying hard to collect them back up. And he is gaining. He is picking up a little ground. I don't think it's enough.
Well, Rusty Wallace has one of the best tiremen in the business, if not the best, Todd Parrott. And he's the son of a great crew chief, Buddy Parrott. But they live with those tires, and I think they changed the tire stagger a little bit, and the car seems to be working better for Rusty now.
winner of 11 Winston Cup races, Rusty Wallace, going for a big number 12. And he has said that this race at Richmond, he felt, would tell the story on the rest of the year. He said a good race here give him a leg up on the championship. Mentioned that in the press. Here he is doing just that, but that lead is being trimmed. 7 laps to go. 7 remaining.
It's going to be a shootout. Getting around is going to be the key thing, but Allen is definitely catching it.
Here we are in the back straightaway. There's your first place car. And there you see that second place car staying right with him. If this race is won by Wallace, he better put that trophy up into little pieces and give it to that pit crew.
That's one good thing I admire and respect about Rusty Wallace. He gives all the credit to his pit crew, and that's why they're so close, and that's why they're so tough to beat. They are a team.
Back in 5th is Allison, 6th is Pearson, 7th is Darrell Waltrip. 2 laps back is Harry Gannon, 8th. Ernie Urbana is 9th. Shirley Marlin, 10th. Michael Waltrip is 11th. 3 laps down. Then Lake Speed is in 12th. Bill Elliott sustaining 13th. Mark Martin 14th. Rick Nash 4 laps down in 15th. Time running out.
You can see Allen driving the car harder and harder. The rear end was shaking a little bit. What's happening? He's driving it in deeper and deeper, and he is gaining on Rusty. You see it quiver in turn 1. The car just shakes in the back a little bit. That means he drove it in just as hard and as far as he could, because he knows this is the time to do it.
Wallace came in here really pumped for this race. He thought that he had a lot to prove. He thought that he had a lot at stake here, and he's driving it just that way. Lost last year's Winston Cup to Bill Elliott by just 24 points. And he admits he doesn't have a lot of laps here at Richmond. In fact, he has said, I've got 1 lap at speed on this new track, and that's twice since they rebuilt it, and that's all. And that's because of that crash that he had last September with Jeff O'Donnell. Coming up this time. I believe they're going to be staying through the time. Two laps to go this time by. It was 3, now they're into 2, and definitely closing down is Kulwicki. White flag, 1 lap to go. 1 to go. Oh, had it been 2. Here's Kulwicki still making up ground, still closing. Out of turn 2 into the back straightaway. 5-car length advantage belongs to Wallace. Here comes Kulwicki charging at the end. He picked up 3 car lengths down the straightaway in the backside, but at the line, Rusty Wallace records his second victory of 1989. That is his 12th Winston Cup victory. The margin, 49 100ths of a second. 19 lead changes among 7 drivers. 12 cautions, 67 laps under caution. And the Pontiac Excitement 400 is won by a Pontiac. Taking the extra lap, car number 27. Rusty Wallace has won here at the Richmond International Raceway. After 12 caution periods, he is going to pull into victory lane, and we'll be there to meet him after these messages. Stay tuned. Let's meet the winner of the Pontiac Excitement 400, Rusty Wallace. Chris Economaki is standing by.
Hey, Rusty, congratulations. How much time did you spend looking in the mirror there the last part of the race?
Oh, about the last 15 laps. Allen was quicker. I mean, he had a good car. It's just that the Blue Max guys bailed me out one more time. Had a quick stop. We were able to run quick all day long, but Allen really was faster at the end. I'd like to congratulate him. And I'll tell you, the Pontiac, it run great today. Kodiak, Mobile One, AC Sparklers, all the sponsors. And I'll tell you, that crew, they're pretty sharp again.
Couldn't have been too tough a race, Rusty. You got all this wind for the commercials and everything. What about when that wheel nut didn't work and they flagged you back in? What was on your mind then?
Well, I I felt the vibration in the impact wrench on the right front wheel lost all its torque. They just wouldn't tighten the lug nuts up, and we had to come in. I felt the vibrate, and I didn't want to take a chance of tearing the car up.
I see some marks on the side of your car here, Rusty. Souvenirs from whom?
Oh, just a little bit of everybody, I guess, out there, Chris. You know, it's a pretty tough race today. It was a real clean race for me. But a little bit of Dale Earnhardt, a little bit of Alan Quick, a little bit of everybody, and a bunch of tough customers out there.
Okay, how are you going to celebrate, Rusty?
We take all these guys out for a party and get home to my wife, Patty, right now. I haven't seen her in a while, and I want to get home.
Well, good. Congratulations and good luck to you. Let's go down now to Mike Joy with Alan Kowicki.
Well, Alan's back here near the truck of the Xerox Ford. And gosh, Alan, I know it's got to be a tough one to lose by just a car length or so, but as well as you ran today, you got to be fairly happy with that.
Well, I don't know. I used to be happy with second place. You know, that used to be a good run for us, but we had this race won, and this time to finish second is a little frustrating, you know, but we did the best we could. The brakes just didn't go our way, and we kept having those darn caution flags again, and we're, you know, normally these races run a long stretch of green, and that's the way we're set up to run, and the brakes just didn't go our way today.
A tough break for the man who finished second. We'll be back to Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway right after this.